friends. Oh, it's going to be really bright on me right now. Just it is. Well, we're just going to let it be bright. It's okay. Hi. Um, we'll just give the YouTubes here a minute to catch up with me. Hang tight. Mm, I think we're here. I'm going to have really bright. Oh, we're a little tilty. How about that? Is that better? Um, we're going to have some bright lights on me and some reflection in my glasses for a minute here. Do. I'm just letting it catch up with me or me catch up with it. I don't know, whatever it is. Before I do anything, I just want to make sure we're good. Maybe try that, honey. Let's see what that does. Better? I think so. I think, no, I think just have a new backdrop. Well, not even a new backdrop. It's not a backdrop. It's not fake. It's the wall. It's the that's and let's try that. Yeah. It's the wall that's been decorated now. Hello, friends. Hi. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. And happy, oh my gosh, how the heck is it almost the end of April day, right? What's today? The 28th? 28th? 29th? No, 29th? I don't even know anymore. I don't even barely know what state I'm in anymore, let alone what day it is. Um, Hello, friends. I see we're starting to have people join us in the chat. Welcome to you. Um, we've got lots to talk about. Lots to talk about tonight. If you are new here, welcome to you. My name is Lael Kankar. I have a business called Lael by Mail. Uh, in January of this year, 2026, I started taking a workshop or a class that had normally been private. Unless you purchased a kit, you couldn't access it. And the beginning of this year in January, I decided to take these and make them public so that anyone could watch them. So, welcome to you if you are new. We are here tonight to use the spring summer season pass to set up our traveler's notebooks for the month of May. And if you're like, whoa, 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 hold on, I'm not where I belong. Hang on a minute, because you might be where you belong. Whether you use a traveler's notebook, whether or not you purchased the spring summer season pass or some of the individual components, I'd like it for you to hang out with us for a while because I think you might have fun. There may be some things that you're introduced to that you haven't seen before, or maybe some techniques that you haven't seen before. A lot of the techniques, well, pretty much everything I'm doing is going to be in my Traveler's Notebook, but that doesn't mean you have to use a Traveler's Notebook or season pass. You just may gain some little tidbits of knowledge. I don't know, something that might help you in any of your crafting. Or you might just be, hanging out on a Wednesday night waiting, I don't know, maybe for the Utah Mammoth playoff hockey game to start. Anyhow, whatever reason that you're here, if you're watching us live, welcome to you. There's a live chat that takes place on the screen. There's a live chase. There's a live chat that takes place during our live. And if you want to join us in the live chat, I'd encourage you to do so. Just pop in and say hi. Let us know that you're here. If that is a great place, as I am working, if you have questions or comments, to pop into the chat. And if you're watching the replay, welcome to you as well. Although you don't have access to participate in the live chat because you are no longer live, you can still turn it on so you can kind of see the chat as it took place live. But the way that we can communicate if you are watching the replay is in the comments on the videos. So whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, welcome to you. If either one, whether live or replay, I would love a thumbs up. So if you want to really quickly just do a quick thumbs up, that'd be awesome. Lots of things happening this week at Lail by Mail. I got back on Monday afternoon from Little Craft Fest in Houston, Texas, which was so much fun. Oh my gosh, so much fun. I did a post about it on Instagram on Monday, Sunday. I don't even know what day it is. Anyhow, there's a couple posts if you want to see some pictures and kind of get a feel for what that event is like. It's fabulous. It takes place in a suburb of Houston, Texas, every year in April. This was the second year they've had it, second year we participated with a booth, and I also taught 3 workshops. So loads of fun. So today is Wednesday, and I got a lot to do over the next couple of days because Friday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time, the May release goes live. And there's kind of 2 parts to the May release. But the main part of the May release is my brand new far and wide travel collection. So you'll see an email go out now, probably tomorrow instead of tonight, because I didn't get it all done. But you'll see an email go out in the morning, tomorrow morning on Thursday. You'll also see a blog post go live on my website at lailbymail.com tomorrow, which is Thursday the 30th. Lots of fun things happening. This weekend is International Scrapbook Day, and that is an event that has been celebrated in the paper crafting community for 20 some odd years. And while what we do here on my YouTube channel isn't necessarily scrapbooking per se, it's memory keeping, whether we're working in a traveler's notebook or a planner or making our creative lists, what have you. So, anytime for cause for celebration, which we're going to take that holiday and say, yes, it's ours too. So we'll do lots of fun things on Friday. Let's see. Friday, new products go live on at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and then I will be here on my YouTube channel doing a live at noon Pacific time, where I'll be doing an unboxing of that, and then we'll be doing a live creative listing session Friday night, and then also another one on Saturday morning. So lots of fun prizes, celebrations, when I do that. They're always a lot of fun. So I'd encourage you to join us. If you've been there before, then you know kind of what to expect. And if not, it's kind of a fun thing to join in on. All right. So we have loads of kind of things happening in the chat. But I need to apologize for a couple of things. Number one, this weekend was crazy. Nick and I left on Wednesday to head to Little Craft Fest, set up on Thursday. The event was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We flew home Monday. And then I did not have my May Traveler's Notebook set up yet. So Tuesday, I very quickly did that. I've only done part of it, so we're going to do part of it together. But the email just went out for that yesterday. Now, I've been talking about it a little bit, so hopefully that didn't catch you by surprise when you got the email. And if you did, I apologize. Normally, I don't have a big event like butting up against the end of the month like that. So if you're watching the replay because you're like, holy cow, what happened? I totally missed this, then apologies for that. The other thing I need to apologize for is my voice. I am not sick. I have been battling an issue with my vocal cords since the beginning of the year. And when I go and talk nonstop for 5 or 6 days, it does not help it. And it's going to get worse because probably get worse. Monday night, Nick and I got home, turned around a half an hour later, went downtown Salt Lake City. We live in a suburb of Salt Lake City, dinner with friends, and then went to the playoff hockey game. And if you follow hockey and you happen to watch that game, it was crazy. Overtime, I mean, it was great. It was great. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but that's okay. That was game four. So looks like we'll be game seven, up to game seven, hopefully game seven. Anyhow, there was lots of screaming and just being excited. And now I'm teaching tonight, and then I'll be doing a couple lives on Friday and a live on Saturday, and those are long. So just we'll just I'll just sound sultry. Okay, I'll just sound sultry for you the whole time. I will do my best to drink water as we go, or else come Friday I'll be in big trouble. All right, so let me really quickly take a look at the chat. We'll see who's here, and then we will dive in. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see what we have. We have Kyla's here with us from sunny Spokane. Hi, Kyla. Nice to have you. Mary C. Plans in Georgia. She's good evening. She's ready to make these pretty things for May. I am too. Jen's Happy Place is here from the Chicago Burbs. Let's see. Jen's Happy Place also said, can't believe we're prepping for May, right? I know. It's you guys, it's end of April. Like, how in the world? The year is already 33.3% over, which I don't even know where it went. That's just kind of crazy. Uh Love to Vacay said hello from North Carolina is her first live event. Well, nice to have you here. Debbie, hello, Debbie from Boise. Debbie's been with us for a while, so nice to always see you, Debbie. Let's see. Jen said to love to vacay. Love your handle. Yes, Lael would love it. I love to travel, work travel, play travel, vacation travel, all of it. So I would just say love to trav. There we go. Love to trav, right? Same thing. Nice to have you here. Carrie is here. Carrie is here, who is also Kyla's sister, which is kind of fun. Hello, Carrie. She's ready for the May setup. Tony Miller. Hi, Tony. Nice to see you from Michigan. Tony, it seems like it's been a while. Has it been maybe? I don't know. Maybe I've just missed you in the chat at some point, but nice to see you. Charlene, hello from Nebraska. Hi, Belinda. Tammy Croy, talking about my new backdrop. If you are new with me or haven't been with me for a while, a whole new setup. I am now in another room in my house. We've recently moved our house. We last month in March moved to a warehouse, which is hugely exciting for my business, which means now there's some rooms that are open, and I now have a filming studio. So that's where I am in my house. I don't have to worry about taking things down and putting them back up. We're about 75% set up with that now. Last thing we have to do is to move away from my phone is the camera, and I have a special camera and a video camera and all different kinds of things. I have amazing software that I can flip back and forth the views and all different kinds of things like that. That's the part now I need to kind of figure out and get set up. So we're about 75% there. Maybe in the next 27 months we'll get there. No, not really that long. We'll get there. Hopefully in the next month, we'll be ready to go with that. But anyhow, yeah, total new setup, which is fun. It's been fun to kind of create a whole other room. And then last weekend, 2 weeks ago, Nick and I, oops, watch it. Nick and I did that. So kind of built, we didn't, well, IKEA, shelves behind us and all decorated. So it was fun. And the best part, I'm so proud of, I didn't have to buy anything new besides the shelves because I shopped my house, shopped my craft room, shopped other areas of the house. So all stuff I pulled from my house, nothing I had to buy, which is always fun when that kind of works out. Although it's kind of fun to shop too. Let's see. Hello, Janine from California's Central Coast. Katrina Williams is here. Nancy R is here from New York, the Big Apple. Katrina, Central Valley. Lori from St. Louis. Marion by the Sea. Hello, my friend Marion. Marion and I finally got to meet in person this past weekend at Little Craft Fest. So that was very fun. I love it when I get to, I mean, we connect a lot. Some of you we connect this way, some of you we connect over email or um, instant message, social media, or whatever it is. But sometimes when I get to connect with you in person, I just love that. That's just so special for me. So I love that, Marion. And you made it home. I'm glad we made it home. Hi, Bev Hillis. Oh, looks like Nick is tuning in from upstairs. My husband. He is like chomping at the bit because the playoff game starts at in I don't know like 2 hours, something around 2 hours. So we should be done by then, but if we're not for some reason and you hear screaming and yelling, just know that's what's going on upstairs. Leah's plan said, glad to be here. Glad to be here tonight. Oh, and Nick, we'll just, yes, honey, you know you're the best. He wants to know who made the wow, who made that backdrop for you? Yeah. Very exciting, Carrie. Yes, yes, he did. Nick, as you guys, he is so handy, and he basically when I say, "Hey, I want to do this," and he just makes it happen. So we have one more project in this room to do besides getting the cameras and all that set up. But we're close. We are close. Carrie said she loves International Scrapbook Day. Marion said she loved the Document Your Travels workshop. I taught 3 really fun workshops at Little Craft Fest, so that was fun too. Hi, Kelly. LCF FOMO, Zen Girls, yeah, Little Craft Fest, amazing event, lots of fun. All right, let's see. Mary C. Plans gave you a suggestion. She said, start saving now, right? I know, I know. Hi, Debbie from Vegas. We did get some shelves up. Yeah, water. Yep, I'm gonna try to remember to do that very frequently as we are going. Um, yeah, Jackie, the plan all along was to decorate behind me. The plain wall just felt like a prison wall. And I said to Nick, I'm like, we have to have it set up for the big weekend, which is this coming weekend, because, we just was too plain. We didn't like it. I mean, that was the plan. Crafty Claire, so I'm still mad your class sold out before I got my ticket at Little Craft Fest. I'm so sorry. I know if I could, I'd have workshops with like 3,000 people. All 3 of mine sold out, and the room could hold 72 people. So uh, we just have to do what we can. One of them, though, I will be turning into a free class. Now those workshops were very, very heavy on the product side, so people got a lot of product in the kit. But one of those I will turn into a free class, and it won't have the product with it. So watch for that. Hi, Amy from Southwest Georgia. Paula and Shane, I loved that too. She said, love meeting you at Little Craft Fest, and my classes were fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. I am passionate about teaching, so I loved that. Hi, Trisha. Nice to see you. All right, you guys, we could probably be here like all day, all night, me saying howdy, howdy, hello. If you were here and I haven't had a chance to say hi to you, thank you. I guess I shouldn't say if you were here, because if you weren't here, then you wouldn't hear me. Sue from Australia. Nice to see you, Sue. Yeah, when we do something at night, it's a lot easier for our friends in the other part of the world to join us as opposed to in the day. So that always is fun. We have Mika from Delaware. Truly a pleasure meeting you at Little Craft Fest. Oh, you too. I think we probably maybe have some new people here that haven't joined us before because we met at Little Craft Fest. All right, all right. Hi, Lola. Leah's plans. Can't wait for the weekend. Tammy said, nice job, Nick. Yes, nice job. Also, Amy did too. Need a tutorial, Nick, on the shelves. Um, You know what? I will do a blog post on it. Because Nick's smart. He's really smart about the way he built them. We laid everything on the ground first and then, yeah. So I'll do a blog post. I'll add it to my list. Let's see. I think we're ready. Kate said she's happy to join her first season pass after meeting at Little Craft Fest. Yay! She's getting ready to take her traveler's notebook on a trip. All right, I think I have everybody. And if I missed you again, apologies. Hello, and Margaret. Hi. Okay. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and rotate the camera so we can stop looking at this and start looking at, the fun stuff on my desk. All right, let's do it. I need to rotate the camera a bit. And again, this is all manual. Will be all a manual process as I do that, probably for the next month or so, until I have a chance to really get, we've got to get the new camera set up and the equipment, the software and all that. But eventually it will no longer be manual and I'll just press a button and then it'll be awesome. And the best thing about the software is that I can press a button and you guys can see me, my face, and you can even see my face and my desktop at the same time. I mean, it'll just take everything else a notch. And Margaret, I love that, longtime listener, first time caller. I know, I love it. Kind of like back in the days of oh gosh, I always think of Dr. Laura, like, right? Dr. Laura, or who's the woman? Oh my gosh, and she's been doing it forever. That she's got like the late night love line or something. Okay, now hold on. It's not that kind of late night love line, okay? Some of you guys know. I know your name. You know her name. Delilah. Delilah. Yeah, it's Delilah. Anyhow, long time listener, first time caller. All right. So here we go. We're ready to get started. So we're going to be setting out of April. And if you are new to kind of this whole concept, whether it's season pass or traveler's notebooks, we won't really talk too much about traveler's notebooks. That just happens to be what I use most for my season pass. But if you're interested in traveler's notebooks, there is a free class here on my YouTube called Intro to Traveler's Notebooks 101. That'll give you the whole kind of skinny rundown. So this was my set up for the month of April. This was the last free class that we did about a month ago. And so when it comes to moving out, I am actually using a different traveler's notebook cover for the month of May. So right now, I don't necessarily need to worry about moving about all of these parts. I'll do that later. But what I do need to move out is my inserts. So with this particular project, every month I am taking some of the pattern paper in the season pass kit and I am slip covering two inserts. And so I'm going to take those slip covers off. This was in the booth at Little Craft Fest, so it's just been handled a little bit. So I am going to take the slip cover off of one of the two inserts I use. That is my monthly calendar insert. And you'll see those on my website. That's something that I always have in this particular traveler's notebook. My kind of monthly, I guess you would call it. Uh, if you were with me at Little Craft Fest and you were at the booth, you saw maybe probably 8 of the different traveler's notebooks that I may be using at one time or another, but I don't always carry them around with, well, I never carry them all around with me. This is the one that I carry around with me most often. It is the one kind of that I do my monthly setup in. So we've got my monthly calendar, which this is the thing I didn't do. So we're actually, when I'm done, if you want to stay and hang out, I'll be actually decorating my calendar with that. All right. So another insert, and I end up with 2 of these every month because I have the one that I actually work in, and then I have my samples. So for Little Craft Fest, I kind of did the part what I work in and the part sample, just because I don't necessarily want people to see what I'm working on. All right, so we have unpacked. We've moved out of April. April is in the books, and now we are going to move into May. So as we get going, as we are working, I will have my completed-ish sample in front of me, and we will be kind of creating our setup with this side by side. All right, let me take another quick sip of water, and we're going to start out with our paper trimmer. Mm-mm-mm. Hello, loves my Griffin Moore. You're good. We're just getting going. I was kind of saying hi to everybody and welcoming everybody. We talked a little bit about Little Craft Fest that I did last weekend. All right. So these are the 4 papers that I will be using. And actually, I will only be using 3 of them. As we design the season pass kind of kit, all the products, as I'm working with Becky, my designer, to kind of work on all of the designs. As she's working on the paper designs, she is creating 12 papers. So she's creating with each season pass kind of 4 papers for each of the 3 months. So these would be the May papers for the spring summer season pass. Now, one of the things that's really awesome is that these papers, if you are not using season pass to decorate your traveler's notebook insert for the month, you might be working on them for a completely different project. And as we look at that cover sheet, those are all of the patterns for spring summer. And as you see, all of those patterns work really well together. So if you're creating scrapbook pages, or you're working in a planner or a traveler's notebook, maybe you're working in a mini book, doing cards, whatever it is, all of those patterns work really well kind of as a mix and match. So if we pull out the patterns for these are the patterns for the month of June. And as we kind of look at all these pieces together, like look at when we look at patterns for June mixed with patterns for May, and we look at the back sides, like this little guy that's kind of intended for June works really well with that May paper. So, we really, really work hard to make sure that if you're buying the season pass as the whole kind of as the whole kit, that everything really works really well together. And that works really well until we get to fall holiday. Fall holiday, you're working with Halloween and Christmas, which makes it a lot harder to make all of those things work together. But Becky does a really good job. In fact, I have the first draft of fall holiday already in my inbox. It came, she sent it to me today. We've already produced summer fall. And wait till you guys, when you guys see summer fall, you're just not going to believe it. Um, if you're new to Season Pass and you're here just kind of checking things out, I will tell you that usually the Season Pass kit in itself sells out within about the first month. So we just sold out of the full Season Pass kit for summer fall, or excuse me, spring summer, not summer fall, spring summer, because we are out of one of the products. We are out of the rub-ons, which once we're out of something, then the whole kit is sold out. But there's still some few pieces here and there of the individual components. All right. So that's kind of a real quick rundown of what Season Pass is, a small assortment of product for each of the 3 months in a particular season. Paper we'll start with, and then as we're ready to start working with the die cuts and the stickers and the rub-ons and the stamps, we'll get there. So the papers that I used for my setup, let's take a look at my setup. Oh, you guys, I was just, when I was working with this yesterday, I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, I've worked with a few of the products in a creative list or two, but this was really the first time I put it all together. These bees. The bees, when I said to Becky, I said, I want bees, but I want the bees to be different. What can we do different? And we started talking and kind of throwing some things back and forth. And we were like, what if we made their wings flowers? So this whole setup is probably going to be one of my favorite ever, ever, ever. So the papers that I used, I've used this guy because we'll use some of our cut apart cards in decorating our slip covers and then our pockets. I also clearly used this one, right? And then I used this guy. So I did not use the fourth paper in my setup because I am only slip covering 2 inserts. So this fourth paper, you have to do whatever you want with. Those are the ones I'm using. And if you decide you want to slip cover differently than I do, of course, you can do that. You do you. This is just the way that I set up based on the same products that we all have. Now, you may not have season pass, but if you have season pass or any of the individual components, that's what I have. So let's go ahead and start out by cutting our papers. I'm going to swap this trimmer out. I think for my big trimmer, it will take a lot of room, but we'll get our things cut and then we will put it off to the side. So we'll start out with this paper. Uh, Let me see. Mary C. Plans. Any idea when Summer Fall will release? Yes. Summer Fall Season Pass and the a la carte components will release on the 5th of May. The 5th of May. Because Summer Fall is for the months of June, July, and August. Wait, no. July, August, September. July, August, September is the Summer Fall Season Pass. So that will release the 5th of June, sorry, 5th of June not the 5th of May. It'll release the 5th of June. So everybody have plenty of time to get it before July, August, September. Sorry about that. Getting all my days mixed up. Okay, so the cut apart cards. We're going to start out by cutting these cards apart. I have been doing a monthly traveler's notebook setup. Probably literally, I'm not kidding you, for about the last 10 years. I like the thought of opening up my traveler's notebook every month and having it be kind of themey, right? So this is themey for the month of May. I have been doing a traveler's notebook kit to follow this kind of particular set up your traveler's notebook for the month for about the last 8 years. And it is within the last year and a half now that we have done our own season pass, which is really nice because uh, now that I'm designing my own products and manufacturing my own products, I should say we're designing our own products and manufacturing our own products. That gives me a lot of flexibility in terms of what everything looks like, right? Because really, I get to pick what everything looks like, and then Becky, my incredibly talented graphic designer, just she's like she gets me more than anyone I've ever known gets me. So um anyhow, there's we had a call this afternoon. We were looking at a new mini collection that will come out later this year, a kind of a gratitude based mini collection, and I had like two changes. That's it. And they were very minor changes. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I hit it out of the park." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She said, "For the first time, I hit it out of the park." And I'm like, "What do you mean for the first time? You always hit it out of the park." And she goes, "Yeah, but pretty much you took it as is." And I'm like, "Oh, but she's just good. She is good." All right, so we've cut apart our cards, and as I was cutting those apart, I wasn't really talking about them, but as you saw, there are two 4x6 cards, and then everything else, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. There are 8 of our little 3x4 cards. So I will be using these to decorate my slip covers for my inserts and then also my traveler's notebook pockets. All right, so let's put these little guys off to the side. I was at the warehouse this morning meeting with Jill, who's doing a lot of social media and kind of photography for me. So one of my little props I just realized is still at the warehouse. All right, next up, let's start with the bees. The bees I'm using for one of my slip covers, and we already looked at that. When you are getting ready to cut your paper, you just want to look at the pattern and see if there is a direction to the pattern. Hello, Michelle Kenny. Fun seeing you at Little Craft Fest as well. Um, oh, and Michelle. Okay, now I just remembered you. I mean, sometimes it takes a minute for the name to click, but I met you and your cute niece with her fun shirt, her fun t-shirt, right? We won't talk about what that said, but anyhow, when we're cutting a piece of pattern paper, we want to really look at it and see if it has a particular direction to it. What I mean by that is when we are kind of wrapping or slip covering our insert, is there a direction in this case to like the way the bees are flying? So if I turn this paper this way, does it still look okay? It does. I mean, it would still totally work because the bees are kind of flying in all different directions. This one, I would say no, because the bees are flying upside down, but bees do fly upside down. That way works. But when I look at this pattern, I know that is how it was designed. So before I cut it, I also want to check the back and see if there's a direction to the pattern. And here there isn't, right? These are just a bunch of really cute little yellow or white daisies on a yellow background. So I know when I cut this paper that I would like my bees to all be kind of more or less the big ones flying up, right? That is the way that pattern has been designed. So if I am going to have that wrap around my traveler's notebook insert, I need to now turn my paper. So I'm going to turn my paper like this, and I am going to trim it at 8¼ inches tall. And I trim at 8¼ inches tall because that is the height of my traveler's notebook insert. Those are 8¼ inches tall. That is a standard height. Standard is what it's called. So I'm trimming that at 8¼ inches tall. Now, when I wrap that, my bees are flying the direction in the way that I would like them to fly. All right, so that's my first paper that I'm cutting, and this is my second insert. So my second insert flowers, right? So originally when I actually cut it, I actually put it on upside down. And I did when I first did it. And I didn't even really realize it was upside down until I kind of started looking at the flowers. But when we look at this paper, it's kind of hard to tell that there is a direction for those flowers. The way I could tell is you can kind of see their little stems. Their little stems are falling down. If we turn it upside down like this, these flowers are now more of the dried variety where they're kind of hanging from something, right? And I just say that because the stems are at the top instead of the bottom. So that is the direction of my paper. I turn it over. Is there really any kind of directional hint on this side? And not really, because the stripe can either go that way or go that way. So when I look at this again, I say, okay, that is the way I would like it to appear on my slip covered insert. So I will rotate that now. And I am also trimming that one at 8¼ inches tall because that is also the height of my insert. So I now have both of those pieces, right? Both of those pieces are now 8¼ inches tall by 12 inches wide. We are not trimming the width at all, and that will make sense in a minute. We are just trimming the height. Now, one other thing that I would like to do, I have used this piece as a pocket stuffer. So we are using, or I am using for the month of May, I am using my black and cream scallop traveler's notebook cover, my Lail by Mail cover. And when I look at that, the pocket configuration looks like that. Don't mind that. That's just a little adhesive from when I unpacked from the last one. So pocket configuration, I have 1, 2, 3, and I would consider these more vertical pockets as opposed to maybe horizontal pockets that might be a little bit wider. And then I have this side pocket right here. So this little secretarial pocket that is kind of a slash pocket where I can easily slide things in and out. But then I have this side pocket. That side pocket, generally I like to put a little something in just so it kind of breaks up a little bit of that weight or the off-white. My traveler's notebook covers always have a different pattern on the outside, but inside they will always be totally plain. The reason for that is doesn't matter what the outside looks like. I can put whatever I want on the inside, and I'm not fighting with a stripe or a pattern or a polka dot or something like that that might not necessarily work with the product that I want to put inside. So I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to trim it to 8 inches. 8 inches so that it will be a nice little kind of side pocket stuffer for me. So it will just kind of add a little pop of pattern and color right there to break up a little bit of that white. You guys, I love it. I'm seeing so many of you that we met at Little Craft Fest. Michelle, yes, we talked about Michelle. Kathy, we met too. I love that. And Kelly Z3C. Also, we met in person. It's so fun to like connect with you guys in person. I mean, this is fun, but not as fun as in person. And then don't feel bad. I don't want you to have any FOMO if we didn't meet in person because maybe one day. And if not, well, this is the next best thing, right? Okay, so as I have my trimmer out, let's grab, we need a couple more things. I'm going to go back to this guy. I am going to trim this. It is already 4 inches tall. I'm going to trim it to 3 inches wide. So that was the piece that was left over after I cut my little kind of side pocket stuffer. That is just going to be a nice additional pop of color and pattern that I will use when I am decorating my pockets. All right. And then, did I use any of this? I did. So let's take a piece of this that I have left over. I am using that kind of floral side up, and we're using that right there. So it's just going to kind of hold a bunch of our fun little die cuts. So what I will do here as well, I am going to, it is 3 3/4 inches wide. So I'm going to trim that to 4 inches like that, and then I'll trim it to 3. So basically I'm ending up with a 3x4, and 3x4, it just seems to be the standard size that I use when I decorate my pockets because that's what the size the cards are. All right. So we don't need any more of that. We'll put that off to the side. We do need that. And I'm going to put these away for a sec, and I'm going to turn my trimmer off and get it out of our way. If I need to trim anything else, which I know I need to trim at least one other thing, I will use my little tiny trimmer just because that will take up way less room than my big one. All right, so let's start out. We're going to start out by decorating our pockets. And I go back and forth. Sometimes we decorate our pockets first. Sometimes we decorate the slip covers first. But we're going to decorate the pockets. So as we do that, our first step will be we will start putting our cards in the pockets. So those are kind of our bases. We'll get the cards in the pockets. And then one of the pieces we will do our stamping on, and then we'll add that. After that, we will come back and start adding our die cuts. And then the last thing that we will do will be adding a couple of stickers. All right, so that is our plan. Let's pull the cards that I have used. So we know we've used those because we just cut those. We needed those. This guy I did not use. This is so fun. I can't wait to use this. One of the fun things about designing my own products for this particular project is I know what I need them for. So as Becky and I are working on different patterns and things, I'm like, oh, when you design that card, I need to make sure that we have a little bit more room down here. The sun is not centered. The sun's not centered for a reason because if I wanted to put it in a pocket, and I didn't with this pocket configuration, but I don't lose half of the pattern when it's in the pocket. If I want to use it on a slip cover, then I have a lot of fun room down here to stamp, right? And that's part of what kind of this whole thing is about, is adding our die cuts, putting things in pockets, and leaving ourselves room to stamp or journal. Let's see, Shabby Rose Creations by Kim. You haven't seen maybe 2 years. You hope the family as well. You started following as soon as the pandemic hit. It's so nice to see you. Nice to see you too. I'm glad that you popped in to join us. All right, so we're not using this guy, so I'll put this little guy off to the side. But I like to tell you when we're using something or not using something because you might decide, oh, she didn't use it, but I want to use that for something. So put that off to the side. We are using the bee, but I'm using that for one of my slip covers. So we'll put that little guy over there. We don't need that for a minute. We're using this guy for our second. Oh, no, we're not. I remember I was going to use that and ended up not using it. So you have that one to play with as well if you want to do something different with it. This one we are going to use. I knew I wanted to use the bee here on the bee slip cover, but if I just put the bee, the white down on the white, we'd kind of lose it. So we're going to use that guy to kind of mat our little bee with. We'll use this one as a pocket stuffer. Oh, I didn't use that one either. We are using this guy on our second slip cover right there. So that will stay there. We're using this one. And that means we have one left to use. Ooh, you know what? And I didn't cut it. I need to, where did I get that one from? Oh, all right. So I cut that from here. All right. Now, you might be like, Lael, I'm not going to cut into a full 12 by 12 piece of paper just to have a little tiny piece that kind of little bit pokes out there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this paper. But you could really put anything back there. You could take any of these guys, except not these two. Oh, no, we need those. You could take either of these two and pop them in there and have them be kind of your little base. You could turn over, and we do need to turn one of those over for right there. You have choices. I always want you to feel like you have choices, but you don't have to cut into a full piece of 12 by 12 paper if you don't want to, especially those of you that are scrapbookers. You're looking at me going, Lael, there's no way I'm going to cut into that full 12 by 12 piece of paper just to have that one little piece right there. So, but I'm going to do it. All right. So I'm going to turn that into a, whoopsie. Let's do this right. If you guys weren't here, I just would have set that right on top of what I was working on and cut, but that's not a very good idea. So as we look at that, there definitely is a direction to this pattern, the flowers, the stems. So I'm just going to kind of think about how I want to preserve that, even though I'm not going to be using it for anything. I would like this card to be my little piece that I need. I need it to be 3 by 4. So I trimmed it at 3. And then we'll come back in here. And if I go to 8, I'm kind of doing reverse math here. Do that. Oh, I didn't quite make it. So I'm just trying to cut that little 3 by 4 out so I don't, completely cut into this piece of paper. But you do what you want. You might not even be using it like we talked about. Oh my gosh, I didn't. Oh, there we go. All right. So I cut that out because I want that fun little kind of polka dot size. All right. Let me grab a quick sip of water again. So I'll have a voice tomorrow. Or actually, we don't care about tomorrow. What we really care about is Friday. Nick, it's funny when he came home, I'm like, hi, honey. And he goes, oh, I see you've been resting your voice today. Not. I had a meeting with Jill, my marketing person, at the warehouse at 10. I talked to Vicky for a half an hour on the way, well, like 20 minutes on the way to the warehouse, and then met with Lily and Denise and Elena at the warehouse. Talked to Vicky again for 20 minutes on the way home. Got home, had a 2 hour conference call with Amy and with Becky for new projects. So, yeah, I've not been resting my voice. Okay, so we need that, and then all of these guys. That is what I am using to decorate my pockets. All right. So starting from the top, and we're not going to use any adhesive. We really end up using very little adhesive, and we wait to use adhesive until we kind of get everything put together. Because generally what happens is when we start adding our little die cuts are going to help kind of hold everything together. Press that down. Okay, so this is my first card. Now let's talk about something like this. When you see that right there, all you're seeing is a very little kind of pop of that orange piece, right? So what I could do here, well, this is what I did. I turned it around. So I didn't even end up using any of that. If you are doing that and using that as a pocket stuffer and you're saying, Leo, that part's really cute, I'd like to keep that. Well, you know what? Cut it off right there. Or get a circle punch or get your fussy cutting scissors and save that circle. But for the simplicity's sake, I am just going to um, use this whole thing. Now, I do this on everything I do. And when I say everything, I mean everything. On my traveler's notebook lists, I outline the page. My mini books, outline the page. I do it in my memory planner. I do everything. And you can see all I did was take a little Sharpie and just do a little outline. To me, it just kind of helps to hold it all in. When I see a card like this that's just has nothing, I'm like, oh, it needs something to rein it in. So that's what I did. That little guy's gonna go there. And again, I'm not worried about any adhesive right now. It's just gonna kind of hang out there until we're ready. Um, Zen Girl said, hee hee, girl, no way. Cut up that 12 by 12 for that little piece. I know, right? I know. Hello, Miranda from Houston. And Carrie said, hello. Thank goodness for the replay. You're late to the party. That you found your cutting board is outside in the trailer. Oh no, your backup doesn't have a blade. Do you know what? Isn't that the way it works? You're like, oh, come on. I'm here. I'm ready to play. And now I don't have my trimmer. All right. So my next piece is actually this. It is one of these guys, and it's just kind of sitting right there. So I took that one because I didn't end up using it. If you're like, Lil, that's really fun, I'd like to save it. Then you know what? Go get a piece of white cardstock or get a little piece of pattern paper from your stash and you could just kind of shove it in there. Because really, you're not seeing a lot of that pattern. Now, we didn't even talk about this side of this paper when we were cutting. This side of this paper is like a masterpiece in and of itself. So it's the back of our 3x4 cards. But when we look at that, like, look at how awesome that is. You have all these little like mini canvases. Each of those little circles is a mini canvas, which is so fun. Like, look at all the detail. Look at the little squirrelies, little swirlies. So if you really like this piece of paper, well, you can always buy another paper pack, right? If you have a hard time choosing between the papers, you can always buy another paper pack as a kind of a la carte item. But I would have so much fun getting out. In fact, we might even do that on Saturday. I don't know. We'll see. Or Friday, one of our celebrations when we're doing our listing. But just those little circles would be so fun in a project, just cutting them out, even your little hexagon. But we're just using it as a nice little backdrop, and that will go here. Tuck that in. And then this guy is next. So this is what was left after we did our second slip cover. And after we cut our 8-inch piece there, that's a 3x4. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty much just kind of, when I am cutting extra pieces to go as pocket stuffers, I am cutting a 3x4 piece just because that's what everything else is. I mean, really, you only end up seeing a little, but then that gives it a little kind of something to hang on to in the pocket. Kind of helps to anchor it. There's that piece I cut up to get that fun little polka dot. I love that polka dot. Polka dots are always fun, but when you look at that polka dot up close, again, that's the back side of that blue floral paper. It's just a little bit off. And when I say off, like, you look at the polka dots are not perfect. And that is the style I like. I mean, I love a good polka dot, but when it's kind of just a little wonky, it's even better. So that one's going to go there. And then we have this one. This is such a pretty, just a nice, soft, really sweet little daisy on yellow. So we will get that one ready, outline it. And I just use that. That little Sharpie pen, and I use that on everything. Whether I'm outlining, whether I'm journaling, whether I'm doing something in my planner, whether I'm making a creative list, that is what I use. Lots of you picked those up at Little Craft Fest from the booth, and then they're on the website as well. All right, so right off the bat, just by adding those couple of pieces of paper, it's just so fun, right? It's pretty. I don't know what, if you're using a traveler's notebook, what you use yours for, but this particular traveler's notebook always for me is like a work thing. So I have my calendar in there. I have an insert in there for like ideas and lists that I just, like things I just have to get done, not necessarily fun lists. But so this is with me most of the time because that's just everything goes in here. And then if eventually it needs to kind of be translated into somewhere else, then it's good. But if I am always opening up this every month, traveler's notebook for work, and I've got to do something, darn it, then I might as well be happy when I open it up and then do the work, right? Okay. So this area, this is prime decorating space, right? But I really can't, well, I could, I really don't want to stamp on it. I would ruin it, right? And I really don't want to just start popping die cuts and stickers on there because it might also ruin it, right? So I'm always looking for something that I can put on top of that. What we do when we were putting something on top, we take one of our pieces, whether it be a 3x4 card or just as easy, well, it'd be a little bit harder to do it with that guy. It could still work. I could have done it with that, but I like to create a little kind of base that has a little fold in it. So that's what this guy is. If I pull this guy out, you'll see that it's a little flap, and the bottom part sits on top of the pocket, but the top part tucks in. And that is what kind of holds it in place. So instead of just like adhering something there with my adhesive, that kind of helps it all to stay together. So that part tucks in and that part sits on top. What I did here, I actually turned it upside down. This is how the card was intended to be used, right? We have some lines, we've got our little bee and the honeycomb at the top. And the reason I know that that is right side up is because that's how it was designed with the bee flying that way. But there's nothing that says the bee can't be flying down, right? Bees fly all different direction. And if the bee is flying down, if we turn the card upside down, that means we don't lose all this pretty part with our little piece that has to tuck in, right? So I turned that over and I just folded it. If you want to get fancy and you want to get out your scoreboard or however you want to score it, all I did is just fold it. And that is folded at an inch. So take the top. Let's just mark our little inch here, figure out where our inch is. And then I can just fold, kind of start folding right like that. It's just for me right above the 1, 2, 3, fourth. So I'm folding right above that fourth line. And I'll get it even-ish, right? Obviously, I'm not too concerned about that being perfect. If I was, I would get out my scoreboard and, do it the right way. So there we go. Now I have my little part that can tuck in to that bottom pocket, and then this part can sit right on top. But we don't want to put it in there yet. And I want to now flatten this back out. The reason we don't want to put it in there is we're going to do some decorating on this card. We're actually going to do some stamping on this card. And trust me when I say it is way easier to stamp on your flat work surface instead of get that in your traveler's notebook and then try to stamp, because this is not even, right? Much easier to stamp on our work surface and then add. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to outline that. And I'm going to outline that so I know where that card kind of ends. I want to make sure that I'm not really decorating up here just because that's kind of a waste, right? That's where my fold is, right above that line. So I'm just doing my little outline right there, like that. Okay. Next up, ooh, what did I do with my um, this area was a mess because I was working in here prior to Little Craft Fest, doing some work for the workshop. My craft room upstairs was also a mess because I was also doing work for the workshops up there. So yesterday afternoon, I was working from the kitchen counter. But what I don't know, what I did with my black ink. Now, of course, I have more than one black ink pad, but um, the I don't have my re-inker yet. So let's just see what's going to happen because these are, I think, a little bit dry. I need black. I need two colors. I'm using black for my month definition stamp. And then I'm using squeezed lemonade for the background. So I'm going to put this up close and you'll see, you can kind of see they're little bumblebees flying around on that lined part of that card. So I have two stamps I'm going to use, and they both come from the spring, summer season pass. They are part of your kit if you purchase the kit, but they are also available a la carte. So you can just purchase the stamps by themselves. So I'm using those. Let me get that so it focuses. I'm using that little bee stamp. So let's get that one. We'll put it right there. And then I am also using the May definition stamp. So that is that guy right there. If you are new to Season Pass, all this year, so all 4 quarters, the stamp set will have a monthly definition. So spring summer has April, May, June. Summer fall will have July, August, September, and so forth. Winter spring had January, February, March, which means at the end of the year, you will have a of the definition stamps if you have, if you do it all year. Okay, so let's start out by, we need to do our background first. So my background is going to be the little bumblebees. So I need to grab a stamping block. Oh, that's interesting. This one will work. Okay, hold on. Remember when I said I was working upstairs on workshops before I left? My stamping blocks, the ones I need are, oh wait, why wouldn't they be here, Lil? They should be in my little bag. They're not in the little bag. Oh wait, okay, hold on. Don't mind that I'm talking to myself. I already brought them down. Okay, hold on. Just know I'm still here. They're not in here. Why aren't they in there? Did they end up over here? I'm just talking to myself. Don't worry. Although I really actually have to say all this out loud, or you guys think that I'll ran away. So, what did I do? All right, I'm going to run upstairs very quickly. Apologies, friends. This will be a good time for you to maybe take a quick break and maybe grab a quick drink because I need to find where my stamping blocks are. I thought I had them, but clearly I don't. Okay, I'll be right back. Hold, please. All right, I'm coming back. So, this is the weirdest thing. I put them, I brought this little clear plastic bin downstairs and they had them in it in this room. And I have no idea what I did with them. The inks I brought down are there. So when I say that I was working on my workshops, look at, I didn't even put the stamps away. Those are stamps from when I was working on the workshops. But I did find the black ink I wanted, a newer black ink. So this is going to be a lesson in what not to do. Well, number one, what not to do is, put your things where they belong, right? Because wherever I did, well, I don't know what I did. Somehow I have completely misplaced a whole slew of stamping blocks. And if my business was still in our house, I'd just go grab some new ones, but it's not. Okay, so when we are stamping, I always say to right size your stamping block to your stamps. So you want to use the stamping block that is the closest size to your actual stamp. That makes life much easier when you're stamping. However, I do not know. I don't know where I put those. That's so frustrating. I know I put them, well, I'll find them. So When I say right size your stamp to your stamping block, I have this little tiny guy, right? That is way too big for that one. It's way too big for that one. It's even too big for this one. So what I'm going to try to do, I am going to use it on this guy. And this guy, it's actually a little larger than the block, but that one will be okay. I think this one, yeah, that one will work there. It's not the one I would have used, but that one will work there too. So at least I don't have giant ones. And the reason why you want to right size your stamp to your stamping block is if your stamping block is really large and you're working with a really teeny stamp, it still works, but it's just when it's so big, it's harder to handle and it's hard to get a nice even impression. So if I only had that big large one, I mean, it is what it is, right? If I have a large one, I have a large one and that's all I have. So, but we'll be good. All right, so I am going to take the squeezed lemonade and that little bumblebee stamp, the little group of bees, and I'm going to stamp this kind of that lined paper background. Every time I come out with a new season pass, I do one of these. I swatch, not I don't swatch. I tell you, I've already swatched. I tell you what ink colors, what distress ink colors coordinate with the products in the collection. You don't have to buy them, right? You might have some of these, you might have colors that are similar, but I always get a lot of requests because I always use distress oxides. What ink colors coordinate with a collection layout? So what I pulled out for May, I pulled out Kitsch Flamingo, I pulled out Broken China, I pulled out Squeeze Lemonade, Faded Jeans, and Mowed Lawn. Now, the only color I'm going to use in my setup here is Squeeze Lemonade and black. But when I go to my calendar, I'll be bringing in some of those other colors. So I'm going to get some ink on those little bumblebees. And these bumblebees are going to be flying all different directions. I brought in a piece of scratch paper because I would like them to a little bit kind of bleed off the page. And as I'm doing that, I am rotating these bees. Now, because I'm using this yellow, it's a little harder to see. But once I do the yellow, I'll go clean it off and I'll do this in black on a piece of scratch paper. And you'll see what I mean when I say I'm rotating and why you might want to rotate your stamp because it is going to make them look a lot more random than if you are doing it with just doing the same position every time. Let me just clean this off. I really don't need to clean it off if I'm working with black, but um, yes, Mary. Mary said squeezed lemonade was in one of the workshops. Oh my goodness, Mary. Mary with the sister that couldn't come, right? Mary, I just put two and two together because you've been on my lives before and I always see your name, but now I can picture your face. Oh, I love that. Okay. So, what I said I was going to do, I would take that same stamp and I'm going to show you in black because it's a little bit hard for you to see in the squeezed lemonade. So, if I stamp the same place, and actually it makes it's not too bad with these because they're all going different directions, but you'd start to notice a pattern when I do that, maybe. All right. But if as I'm stamping, I am rotating my stamp, oh, those two are kissing now or something. No, that's their heads. It's okay. Well, it's nature, whatever they're doing, right? Anyhow, so as I rotate, it just kind of gives it a little bit more of a random look to it as opposed to keeping my stamp kind of the same direction every time. All right. So when you're working with a stamp like that, rotate it, spin it around. It's one of the things we talked about in the making the most out of your stamps workshop that I taught at Little Craft Fest. We worked with the texture stamp and we talked about rotate your stamp. If you rotate your stamp, it will make it look very different. So you're not kind of using the same pattern in the same position over and over and over. Linda can't find her blocks right now either. Gosh darn it, right? I hate it when I do that. I'm like, I know I had it. Oh well, whatever. I'll find it at some point. I will find it before Saturday because I need to have them before Saturday. All right, so I've just now just kind of created a little bit more of a background. So we don't just have the lines. Now we have our little bumblebees flying. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to use that May definition. And I decided I wanted to use black here because we have a lot of black in the bumblebee parts, not the wings, but the rest of the parts. And so I thought, especially here, it would tie in really well. If you don't want to use black and you want to use something different, the kitsch flamingo would be really fun. Even your mowed lawn might be fun. Should I try something different so we can see what it looks like? Why don't I do that? I'll try the mowed lawn. So I use black on that one, but I'll do mowed lawn here. Um, I also want to, you'll notice when I started with the yellow, even though you probably couldn't see it very well, that I tested it first. So I'm going to do the same thing. You should always, always, always test your stamps before you use them, anytime before you use them. All right. So let me just move these so you can see the bottom of my notebook here. And I am going to ink up that May stamp. Get that nice and inked up. And I am going to stamp, test it. So I can get a really good feel for what it looks like. Make sure my stamp is clean. Also make sure I like the color, right? Do we think we're gonna like that? I think we are. I think it'll be kind of a fun change for us. So from what I did on this guy. So let's ink that up again. We definitely need to ink it up again. If we didn't ink that up again, it would be very faint. We wouldn't have enough of a stamped impression. So you definitely want to ink up in between stamping, doing your little stamped impressions. Get that nice and coated. The other thing that your stamping or your test stamping does for you is give you a feel for how much pressure you need to apply when you're stamping. Generally, I see that people apply way more pressure than they need to when they're stamping. So with a stamp like this, you really don't want to, there we go. You really don't want to stamp or press really hard because if you press really hard, those nice little fine letters are going to really start to blur out. All right. So there's our difference. There's my sample in black. And then what we're doing right now in kind of that mauve lawn. So if you want to try a different color, it'd probably be cute and pink too. Whatever you have, right? Sometimes it's whatever you have. I always have black. So, well, I always have them all because I use them all. I own them all. But I think you can't go wrong, right? You can't go wrong. If you want to use a purple, just knock yourself out. Use a purple. All right, so let's get these guys put away back on their block. We will stamp some more. I will end up stamping a little bit more when I do my calendar, my monthly calendar. But this is all I'm going to stamp in my little setup. We'll be using some other things in the rest of our setup. All right, so now I have pulled out two of the die cuts. I am using this bee and I am using this little honeycomb die cut. All right, you have lots of different die cuts, and the die cuts are set very similarly to how the papers are set. You have the full pack of die cuts. I don't know, do I have a package here? I don't think so. You have the full package of die cuts, and when you turn over the back, and they're kind of grouped by month-ish. So you had kind of all the ones for April, the eggs and the bunnies and things like that were kind of grouped together, and then the ones for May grouped together. But again, the season pass, we work really hard to make a lot of the colors and patterns mix across the 3 months so that you could use. I only pull when I do my setup things for that particular month, but you could certainly mix and match. All right. I have used some pop dots or foam squares. So let's get those out. When I'm working in a traveler's notebook, other than when I'm decorating the pockets, I do not add any kind of dimension. I don't add any enamel dots. I don't use any foam squares. I don't use anything like that because when you turn the page and try to work, it makes it a little difficult if you have a lot of bumpy things behind you. So we're doing this guy first, and they're actually both popped up. So let's just add a couple of these on here, like so. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to take another quick sip of water. I will be watching the hockey game tonight. Well, from here. Um, and I'm sure I will be cheering. So I will definitely make sure I'm drinking during that time too. Okay, here we go. So let's see what I did. You'll notice that this one, it just goes off the edge a little bit. And so if you want yours to go off the edge a little bit, you can. I tried to, when I placed this, I was paying attention to how those honeycomb were sitting. And so this kind of, let's look how I did that. Is it this guy? I mean, it really doesn't matter, right? It really doesn't matter. Oh, there we go. So I did it like that, where these guys are just kind of nested in the little spots of the ones that are printed on the paper. But there's no right or wrong way to do it. So put it wherever you think it looks good. Okay, now we've got this bee. These bees, I don't know. You know what I would love? I would love like a brooch or a pin that was like that. Wouldn't that be cool? I bet I could figure out how to do that. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll figure it out. So I have to think about where I want to put the foam adhesive behind this bee. This is going to sit a little bit on top of here because it's actually going to end up covering up. I had it cover up that bee on there because it just kind of didn't work, right? So when we have both of them together, as I am thinking about my foam squares, I don't want to put any behind this part of the bee because they'll automatically be lifted by sitting on top of that one since it's already lifted. If I put foam square here also, then it's going to be like double lifted, which will just might be a little bit odd. So we know we want to stay away from that part, right? We'll just come in here with a couple more foam squares. Much easier to peel them off right when you add them. And we'll put another one right there. And you notice I didn't put any other adhesive on that. I don't need to put any other adhesive on this. It's just it will, those foam squares will kind of hold it exactly where it needs to be. Oh, actually, I guess I went this way. Okay. So now we are ready to put this in the pocket, but we might as well grab our word strip stickers while we are here. So, and then we'll go ahead and tuck it in the pocket. I used two. I used one of the mint that says beauty everywhere. So we'll grab this guy right here and we will peel that off. And I'm going to take my scissors. I find it scissors. These are not scissors, these are tweezers. I find it much easier to place that with my tweezers, my reverse grip tweezers, as opposed to my fingers because I can get it way straighter when I do that. So this little guy is just going to kind of fill in that space right there. And it will be a little bit wonky because part of it is flat and part of it is sitting on the honeycomb that is raised. And if that bugs you, just grab a couple of your little smaller foam squares and you could kind of add maybe one there and there behind it and it would all be lifted together. All right, the other one is So Much Fun. And So Much Fun is white. And that is right up here at the top, the second one in from the left. Grab that. I'll do the same thing here and place that just kind of right there. So your word strip stickers are one of my favorite things because anytime you think something looks like it's missing, the answer is a word strip sticker, right? We had that kind of plain area right there. We fixed it right up with a word strip sticker. We also had that plain area right there. Same thing, fixed it right up with a word strip sticker. All right, so let's put this guy back in here. This is our sample. And I just have to kind of shove that back in there because back in there, that sounded weird. Shove that back in there, but I've already kind of worked on top of it, so don't mind all of that. And let's pull out our guy here. Now this guy's all decorated, making the rest of this look totally plain. Do you see that little mark right there? That is a really small piece of adhesive. And that is what, when I was working in this that small piece of adhesive is what was kind of holding that down. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my little tape runner here and add a little bit of adhesive and tuck that guy in. And so the rest of it sits right on top of that pocket. And that's a really easy way if you want to decorate that space without really kind of ruining anything. You don't need a lot. I just added a little bit. And now we're ready to go. We're ready to go back up to the top and start pulling in our die cuts. So I have used some die cuts that pretty much date this as May. If you loved this setup and you wanted to use it for the next 3 months, I would probably just not use any that are related to months. So as we start, we are looking for 3 up here. We have Hello May. We're using one of our little red flowers here. And then we have this little packet of seeds. Now, here in Utah, where I live, northern Utah, you pretty much don't plant anything until Mother's Day, even on your front porch. Like, we have flower pots on our front porch. The rule of thumb is don't do it until Mother's Day, because if you do, you're going to cry because it will freeze. Like, you guys, when I got home from Little Craft Fresh on Monday, it was snowing. I went from like 85 and incredibly humid in Houston to snow at home. Now, it's stuck in the mountains, so it's stuck kind of in the foothills above our house, but not on the grass. But still, yeah, you have to be really careful here. And people move here and they put things on their front porch in April, and I'm like, "Oh, you're going to regret that. You just wasted those that all that money that you brought on the pansies, because they're going to die. They're going to die before spring really gets here." But I don't even know where I was headed with that. Oh, I don't, something about May and flowers, right? Okay. Hi, Melissa from Odessa, Texas. Better late than never. Right. Absolutely. Better late than never. And Carrie Evans, too, jumping in late. And you guys know that's the beauty of all this. You can stop and pause and rewind and watch half and come back later, or watch the replay at any time. So there's really no late. I always say it's kind of like an open house, right? Open house, you're maybe not there the whole time. You might come late, or hopefully you're not early if you're at an open house, because you might freak the realtor out, if, or the people, if they're not ready. But yeah, you're all good. You can always watch the replays. So, all right. So now we've got this little guy, and this little guy is just kind of sitting right there. A lot of that will get cut up. That's fun little, like your little seed pack, right? All right, next up, we have this guy. Looks like it comes up way higher. So, and that's good that I didn't really adhere anything yet, because we're just kind of getting things placed. Now, what just happened when I adhered that piece, it is now connected these two together. So those two are now together. And what's going to continue to happen as I put something here, it's now going to connect the 3 and the 4 and the 5 together. So eventually all these will be connected, and I really don't need to add any adhesive to keep them in. It's because they're all connected together. So this one, oh, I love this one. That's the most beautiful bouquet coming out of an envelope that I've ever seen. Wouldn't that be fun if you could get a bouquet like that in an envelope? I bet you can. I mean, I bet they have little, like, little ceramic vases that may be an envelope. If not, that would sure be cute. All right, so I'm just adding a couple of my, I don't need a lot here, a couple more foam squares. And this is going right here. So we'll see a little bit of the blue maybe, or whatever you had there. I'm covering up a little bit of the seed pockets, and you'll notice that is tilted. So it's kind of moving itself kind of over into here a little bit. All right, next up we have this stamp, that little stamp shape. Again, so fun. And that guy is really only part of it is pop dotted, and it's the top part. And because this is kind of long, what is that? Oh, something stuck on my little adhesive there. So because it's so long, mine is kind of floating around a little bit there. So I added a little bit of extra adhesive on the bottom. And this guy is just kind of going right in there. And the fact that we put a pop dot or foam square on part of it and not all of it, to me, just helps it look even more dimensional, because only part of it is popped. All right, next up, we are looking for this guy. April showers bring May flowers. I will show you what I do, and I do this actually 3 different times. Actually, I do it 4 times. When I get a new season pass, I come in and I actually separate, I sort the die cuts, and I sort the die cuts into different trays. But I use them, I mean, I have to use them once when I create the sample, and then I use them again. Let's see, April, May, June. I use them again when we're setting up our traveler's notebook. And then I use them at least one more time in one of our projects on a Saturday, like a list or something. So I separate them like that. If I was you and I was only doing, one kit, something like this would work great. You're a little divided. You could do April, May, June, but I have them all separated like that, because then it's really easy when I'm working. That's why it's so easy for me to find them, because I've already separated them out and I'm not trying to dig through the whole pack looking for what's what. And again, the back of the packaging kind of gives you the way they're grouped, an idea as to kind of what's meant to go together. But of course, everything goes together, so you can use whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. Okay, this little April showers bring May flowers. That's a good one. And it's nice to get some words in there to break up some of the pattern and some of the art. Well, we also have Hello May. So that'll go right there. And then I have three more pieces. I used a little kind of pink flower, and I used This Was Awesome. And then I used this little guy. If you're not a fan of This Was Awesome, maybe you're a better fan of Loved This. And in this case, it really didn't have anything to do with what it said. It had to do with the shape. Because when I have this and that, those two together seem too much the same height and same width to me. That's why I used that one, because this one's a little bit wider and it just kind of gives it a little bit of a different look. Using my foam squares on all three of these again. My little flower will kind of go here. And then This Is Awesome. We'll put our little foam square behind it. And then the bottom of it's just going to tuck right under my little pocket. So my little sign is there. And then this guy, my little potting plant and my gloves and my little gardening tools to do all the weeding that we have to do and right in the spring and kind of get everything nice and cleaned up for our flowers and digging out all the weeds that grew. Oh, okay. So now look what just happened. And we saw this probably coming. Looks like everything on mine is maybe a little bit higher. And it's okay, but I have to be aware of where I'm putting that because I really don't want to cover up my little month definition there. All right, so my pockets are done. And when I do this, look, that guy's not going anywhere. I'm pulling hard on that. Everything is connected. I didn't have to add any adhesive to any of those behind any of those pieces to kind of have everything stick where it's going to stick. All right. In fact, I think I might just pull this guy and maybe just make him a little higher. All right, pockets are done. And we had already put that guy in. Now, I did not outline this guy before I put it in. So do as I say and not as I do. If you're outlining here, pull that piece out, outline it, and then put it back in. Much safer. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh, I'm in a hurry. I don't want to pull it out. And I go whoop, right onto my traveler's notebook. Okay, so now we are ready for our slip covers. How's everybody doing? Let's have another sip of water. And then we'll do our slip covers. Carrie said, "My fun containers from the Dollar Tree still hold all of your 2026, your year in review, and that's where those trays are from. They're from the Dollar Tree, and I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight in here because that's how. Anytime I'm working with Season Pass, I separate them that way. Um, Hello, Candace Coder. Nice to see you. Candace said, hello. Just watched Kelly Bangs working on her traveler's journal from Tokyo. She mentioned you. Yes, we were together in Tokyo last month. That was what an amazing trip. Holy cow. Mm, mm. You're right. We forgot something. I was just checking to see if you were paying attention. Not really. We forgot this, the rest and relax. So there's a lot of yellow in here, right? And we got yellow, yellow, yellow. So adding that little blue rest and relax sticker actually then helps us go blue, blue, and just kind of helps to make everything kind of blend together a little bit more. So rest and relax. And when I'm adding these stickers, the word strip stickers, I am paying attention to what they say, but I'm probably more paying attention to, I should say just as much, I'm paying attention to what color they are, right? So when we put that there, remember when I said if it feels like something is missing, the answer is a word strip sticker, right? Like that, it feels like something's missing. It's cute, but there's just a lot of yellow there. Look what happens when we put our word strip sticker there. No sticker, sticker. No sticker, sticker. That's the answer, word strip sticker. And that one goes right there. And hopefully in May, we'll have some time to rest and relax, right? All right, so now we're ready for our inserts. So I'm going to move this out of the way and put my sign back. See, there's stuff all over the floor. Okay, so let's get ready for our inserts. We're going to slip cover our inserts. We love those things. So when we're slip covering our inserts, if you have not seen me do this before, I always like to just briefly talk about this because I think it's always interesting to understand or learn why people do what they do. Now, this is here. Oh, it's right here. Okay. Always ready. So I mentioned I've been working in a traveler's notebook, oh my gosh, at least for the last 10 years, if not longer. And during that time, when I was working on them, I worked for a company called Simple Stories. That's how I know some of you. And a couple of years in, we launched a kind of sub brand called Carpe Diem. And Carpe Diem was our planner and traveler's notebook brand. So I started working with a lot of traveler's notebooks then. Oh my gosh, I think that's been 13 years. Holy cow. 13 years ago when I started working for Simple Stories. That just seems like yesterday. But anyhow, so I was working with traveler's notebooks and I was decorating my inserts and having a lot of fun. And for a long time at Carpe Diem, we had patterned traveler's notebook insert covers. And so I'd really never gotten around to really decorating the cover of a traveler's notebook insert because they were patterned. So I didn't need to. And then Christmas rolled around and the patterned covers or the patterned inserts we didn't have any Christmas ones. And I thought, you know what? I'd really like to decorate my traveler's notebook in Christmas, kind of like this. And I want to get something Christmas related on my cover. And this was it. Now, mind you, this is probably 9 years old, so it's definitely seen better days. But I took some pattern paper and I glued it to my cover, which was awesome because in my traveler's notebook for this was all decorated for Christmas, this was Christmas, and it was great for December. But then something happened. Then January happened, which is usually what happens when December's over. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I don't want Christmas in my traveler's notebook anymore. But I glued the paper to my cover. And you will see, I'd been using it. I'd been making fun lists in here. Everything was great until, boom, December ended. And I'm like, this is now glued to the cover. Do I try to peel it off? Oh, no, I used really good glue. So I went, well, that was a bummer. And I started thinking, I like the idea of being able to change out. Excuse me. Excuse me, mister. Pardon the interruption there. Reggie, get in your bucket. Yeah, cat's gotta love him. But actually, he did. He popped up and he just went in his little bucket on my desk. So, um, but I knew I wanted to be able to change out the look of my traveler's notebook every month, at least this one. So I had to figure out how am I going to do that without gluing it, right? Because when January rolls around and then February and then March, I need to change out the cover, just like we did when I kind of moved out of April into May. So that's when I came up with the idea of creating slip covers. Some of you are going, oh my gosh, Lil, I totally remember being in third grade. And the first day of school, we'd get our textbooks, and the teachers would say, hey, listen, take this textbook home and cover it because we need to use this textbook for the next 82 years, right? And I know that sounds maybe like not, but sometimes we've been using those textbooks for a long time. We need to use them next year and the next year and the next year. So we need to make sure it stays protected through the whole year. So go cover it at home, slip cover it, and we'll give you extra credit. So that's kind of where I came up with the idea of this. When we were covering our textbooks back then, we used plain old brown paper sacks from the grocery store. And probably back then, we didn't have to worry about picking a side because they were probably just plain. They probably weren't even printing on them at that time. But what we did after we put our brown paper on, then we doodled and we put Mrs. Grossman stickers and all those things on top. So it was kind of more our personality, right? Which is basically what we're going to do here. We're slip covering. We're using our pattern paper to create a temporary slip cover so that when May is over, we take off the temporary slip cover and then we put a new cover on, and we do that every month. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll start with this guy. This I am using to slip cover my monthly calendar inserts. If you are getting the season pass kit and you are getting it with the traveler's notebook inserts, you have two of just my, plain old lined traveler's notebook inserts, but I always am using this guy, and that's you can get on my website. So I need to cover this. I want this pattern to be on the outside, right? This is the outside pattern, the pattern I want to show. Here's a little tip. When you are folding a piece of paper or scoring a piece of paper, in this case we're folding, I want you to fold with the outside facing in. This is the outside. I want to fold with the outside facing in. The reason we do that is when you fold paper, there's a high likelihood that you are going to have fiber breakage on the fold, right? You have fiber breakage on the fold. One of these days, let me see if I have that over here so we can kind of see what that looks like. Let's see what this one looks like. Oh, yes, here we go. So do you see I have all of that fiber breakage? So it's just showing the inside, the white core of the paper. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I kind of prefer not to see that. So if I fold with the outside facing in, my fiber breakage always is occurring on the fold. So this is the inside, right? Outside facing in. When I refold that, I won't see any of that fiber breakage here because your fiber breakage will always occur on the fold. All right, so fold outside in. I'm going to take my insert. This is the one I would like to be in the front cover, or the one facing up first. And I'm putting the spine. Let me actually, I'll make this work again, but let's use one of the plain ones. I want to take the spine and I want to place that right in the center of that fold, right? There's my fold. There's the spine. Depending on what you're using, especially if you've already been working in your traveler's notebook, just look, make sure that things are right side up here and not upside down. If they're upside down, flip it. Now, because we're not gluing, we're okay if it's upside down because we can uncover it and then recover it. But just while you're here, make sure that it is right side up. My spine is in the center. I am going to close that like it's a book, right? Closed it, and I'm going to rotate it. So here is that part. My spine of my insert is right there. I'm closing that. Let me just do that again. Close it. And now I want to just going to take my hand and push. So I'm pushing to make sure that's flat. And then I'll hit the edge here, right? That's the edge of the insert. Where I hit that edge, I want to just use my finger to make a natural crease. That is exactly where we want it to be. Trust me, I've been doing this for a lot of years. This is the easiest way to know exactly where you want that crease. Don't measure, don't get out your scoreboard, don't do all those things. Just push, use your finger, and do that against that natural crease. All right. So now we're going to lift up that slip cover. That is our front cover of our insert. We're lifting up that as well. And we are just folding that under. That's exactly where we need it to be. All right. I'm going to turn that over and do the exact same thing on the back. We'll just kind of push that in, make sure it's kind of nice tight there. Take my hand and work it that way. And then that is exactly where I need that crease to be. Take my little finger, edge of my finger. That's easy. That tool, hopefully you always have with you, right? Can't get lost. Hopefully you don't lose your hand. And that's where that edge needs to be. I'm going to lift that up. That's my back cover. Lift that up. That is the back cover of my insert. And tuck that in. That is nice and tight and exactly where we need to be. Thank you, Louisa. I'm not doing as well as I should with my water. Melissa says, I remember covering my books with book covers. That was always our first day of school assignment. I remember buttercrust covers. Okay. Melissa, I don't know what a buttercrust cover is. Now, back then we had to use like packing tape and all that. And then you'd create a thing that the thing slid in. And our paper's not wide enough to create the thing that the cover slides in. But remember, we started out with a 12 by 12 paper and we trimmed it to 8 1/4 because that was the height of our insert. But when I said we're not going to trim the width at all, that's why we didn't trim the width at all, because that is how our cover is staying on without having to glue it. And if you are leaving Buttercrust is a bread band. I guess they sponsor book covers. Oh my gosh. Melissa, where are you from? And do you want to tell me what year you were in third grade? Or whenever that was, because I'm just interested to know if it's a regional thing maybe, or if it's an age thing. And I was younger or older, or am younger or older. The covers had a picture of a bread loaf. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so we now have our cover, and I don't need to put any adhesive on there. If this guy is living in my traveler's notebook for the entire month, and it's sitting inside the elastics, it's not going to go anywhere. I don't have to add washi or anything. If you are someone that maybe you're going on a trip and you don't want to take your whole traveler's notebook in with you, but you want to take your calendar, then you could maybe just put a little piece of washi on there and it would just like temporarily hold it in place. But I usually don't do that. Now, when you're doing this, if you are using one of my traveler's notebook inserts, they have rounded corners. So I really encourage you to do this next step. Right now, that is a right angle, right? That is a 90-degree angle. And underneath it, it is round. So if I don't round these corners, chances are that corner is going to start to bend because there's nothing underneath it to support it. So I just take my little corner rounder here and round all 4 of those corners. Now, when I say all 4, I don't mean these on the spine. I mean, I'm going to turn it over and do the other 4. Let's see. Melissa said you were in Odessa, Texas. You were middle school in the 80s. Okay. So I don't. I'm in middle school and high school. I was in Utah, but interestingly enough, second, third, and fourth grade, I was in Kingsville, Texas, and that's probably if we had the bread then. I just don't remember it, but I was in high school in the 80s. So, oh, you were also in high school in the 80s. I was in high school 82 through 86. So it could be a regional thing or um I just don't remember that bread. We had Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread. I don't even think we had like the grandma's bread then. All right, so we rounded all the corners. Now, the next thing I want to do, because I said I do this on everything I do, I have taken my little black plant pen and I outline. And here, it really pops with the bees and the yellow and the black. That outline really pops. If you're outlining and you have already slip covered, which we do, I encourage you to open that and lay it flat. It's way easier to do your outlining when that is flat as opposed to having your insert be closed. If your insert's closed, things are going fine and dandy and you're doing your little outline here. But what happens when your insert is closed? It's kind of bulky right here. And generally, what happens if I am outlining, I'll be careful not to. I do it like that, and you know what happens? Whoop, go right off the edge, which is fine, right? But I think it's a lot easier if you do it open and then close it. So really quickly, what I'm going to do, because I want this to one to always be the first. This is kind of the hero. Always my first one is always my calendar insert, but I want to have that one be the first. So I am just going to see how quickly, how easy that was to uncover and then re-slip cover. Oh, however, okay, let's talk about what just happened. And you wouldn't know this if I didn't say anything. Well, if you saw that, you would know it. So do you see how it is? It's not flat. It's warped. The reason that is warped is because this insert, because I've started to put things in it, it is more pages than this one. So this is bulkier. That is why it worked on me. So for this particular sample I'm doing, I can't do that. But that is also a very important kind of reason or example why you don't want to measure. Because if I had measured and thought, oh, that's about an inch and about an inch, and then tried to do what I just did, sorry, my throat's very dry. Try to do what I just did, it would warp like that. So I'm actually glad that happened. I didn't think about that as I was doing that, but that was a good thing to show you. So let's get this guy decorated and then we'll come back and do that guy. As we are looking over here, I have taken two of the cards. I've taken the B card and I have taken this guy. This life is made of special moments like this. Now, I loved the B's, so there was no way I wasn't using this B card. But if I did that, that just kind of gets lost on there, right? It just kind of blends in, and I really wanted it to stand out a little bit. So I thought, well, if I outline it, it would help, but I still feel like I need some more color in there. So if I find a card that I could use to mat the B card, then that is going to make it pop. Now, those are the same size. Those are both 3x4. So I need to trim this little guy down. So the mat works. So let's grab my little trimmer here, one of the 812 trimmers I have. Not really, but I probably have 12. I'm just going to grab this guy because he's smaller. And I would like to have a quarter inch, eighth inch. That's an eighth inch border all the way around. So instead of just cutting in at a quarter and a quarter, because if they're all eight, then it would be quarter. I want to do it evenly. So I am going to take an eighth of an inch off of all four sides. So then that way it'll give me a nice even quarter inch border all the way around. And there. Whoopsie. Wow. That was a little aggressive, Lael. Okay, there we go. So now when I take that card, I can mat it on this one. And then it just is going to be nice and fun and cute and stand out. But it still doesn't stand out enough. You know why? Because we have to do that. When I'm doing that outlining, you'll notice my hand is sitting flat on my work surface, And I try to do one continuous line. So I don't do it in spurts. I do one continuous line and then I stop and rotate. I never use well, that's not true. Every once in a while, if I'm working on like a mini book cover or something, I will use a ruler. But other than that, I always just freehand it, just because that's the look I like. But if you feel better about using a ruler, you can. I also find with that, the faster you go, the better it looks. When you start to slow down, if I start to slow down, I it tends to get jerky, and then it kind of has like bumps in the outline. But it actually, if it's a look you're going for, it can be kind of cool because if I do this and stop and then stop, it's kind of depositing a little bit of extra ink. And when I do that, what does that look like? Is that, there we go. It kind of looks like I sewed it, right? So we can fake sew on our projects by just, outlining. And then that looks like a stitch because I've got the spot there. Every time I stopped, it deposited a little bit more ink and it looks like that's where the needle is going through. There were a couple people at Little Craft Fest because I had a whole bunch of my traveler's notebooks as samples. And someone looked in and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I always just assumed that you sewed that." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, no, ain't nobody got time for that." Well, that's part of it. But the other part of it is I actually, if you haven't already put your adhesive on that, wait a minute because it will be easier if you do something first before. But I already did that. Um, Anytime I even look at a sewing machine, the whole bobbin goes like that, right? So I don't sew on my projects. I love the look of it, but I don't have the patience for it. Okay, so now, remember I said when we're designing cards, I'm thinking about how I will use them. Instead of making that be centered, I'm like, you know what? If it's centered, then there's too much white up above and below. I would like to be able to put something right there. So we're going to put a couple of things right there. We're actually going to put 3 things right there. Oh, Zen girls, I know. Paige Evans sews everything, and she does amazing. Well, she does a lot of hand stitching, and it looks amazing. But let me tell you, I would be if I tried to do that, I'd be in the corner in a white jacket with really long arms. Really long arms that tends to wrap all the way around you. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, I would drive myself crazy doing that. But I love the look of it. I just don't have the patience for it. Okay, so we're actually adding 3 things here. And we're starting with the So Very Lovely sticker. So we'll put the sticker down, and then that blue is a rub-on. And then on top of that, that pink flower is another rub-on. So we're going to layer rub-ons. So let's go back to our little word strip stickers. And again, I wasn't really paying attention so much to what it said. I was paying more attention to the color. And I think that I might have already on this sticker sheet. No, I didn't. So Very Lovely. So Very Lovely is the second row down all the way on the right in the yellow section. So we'll pull this off. And So Very Lovely will go just right below it. And now, when I first did this, I was messing around and I put something on the other edge. And then I'm like, you know what? That is not very even. I'm like, oh, but guess what? This will give me a little bit more room over here to do something. So now we're going to go to our rub-ons. Our rub-ons. So we had used rub-ons during our April setup. So I've already taken my rub-ons out of the package and I have already done this step. This is one of the things we covered in 2 of my 3 workshops at Little Craft Fest. We had rub-ons in 2 of the 3 workshops. And I just want to kind of review this very quickly. If you've never worked with rub-ons before, or it's been a long time since you've worked with rub-ons, the season pass, if you buy the kit, has rub-ons in it. But they are also available a la carte. But now the season pass spring summer rub-ons are sold out. You basically have 2 sheets, okay? So I will always have a color sheet and then a black sheet. And the black is there so you can really do anything that you want with it, right? Now, you can do anything with the color, but if you're working with other products besides Season Pass, you might have a hard time kind of matching the colors, but your black will go with everything. So when I open a package of rub-ons, you have, in this case, you have 4 sheets. You have the color sheet and then the little backer that's behind it. And then you have the black sheet, and then you have the little backer that's behind it. I really, really, really encourage you when you get a new package of rub-ons to staple each of the sheets together. So I have taken the black sheet and stapled it at the top with its little protector sheet. That's what that is. That is a slick sheet that makes it so your rub-on doesn't stick to it. And if you keep those sheets together, your rub-ons will be your friend. If you don't keep those sheets together and you're working with them and you're working on something and they accidentally get separated, one of those rub-ons inevitably is going to be somewhere you don't want it to be. All right. So I staple them together right outside the package. Now, what happened here when I first stapled this set or those two, I stapled up at the top. And then I was using some of the rub-ons and I had to basically cut away the whole sheet. I think it's because I used that guy, that little border. So I ended up cutting away that whole part. So somewhere, I don't know. Somewhere in all of my things, I have the top part, that little top third stapled, and I had to come back in and staple that part. Okay. What I'm going to do, because I know, oh, do I have a stapler in here? Hang on. Oh, please. Do I have a stapler? I do. Okay. Before I do that. So I'm actually going to cut. I guess I'll use, wait, let me see. Do I have scissors in here? Yes, I do. Instead of my fussy cutting scissors. All right. So I'm actually going to cut below this cute rainbow line here because I know that this little stripe I want to use in my calendar. So that's still stapled. I'm good. But now these two are free. We don't want them to be free. We don't want them to separate from each other because if I'm working and this little guy accidentally gets set down there and I'm working and not paying attention, one of those little rub-ons may come off on something I don't want it to. So I am going to staple these guys now together so they will stay nice and protected. We'll just staple it over here. All right. So I'm not going to do anything right now with either of these, but I do want to do something with this guy. And then also, see, also with, oh, one of the little flowers from this section. So let's start with this guy. I want that piece to go right here on the edge of my little so very house and do this and get any of this getting rubbed on where I don't want it to. I am going to cut this away. And you'll see I'm cutting both sheets away together. Cut that away. And as I cut that away, that's still good. And I'm going to hold, I want to keep holding on to those two together until I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. So if I'm like, oh shoot, I need to go answer the phone, I would put those down and they'd be together so that it's not accidentally becoming separated and rubbing on somewhere where I don't want it to. So when I'm ready, I will separate those two. No longer need the little protector. It's good. I'm going to take my rub-on and I'm going to set it where I want it to go. Once I set it where I want it to go, it needs to stay there. Do not try to put it down and then pick it back up again. Because the way rub-ons work, if you look at kind of the back of that sheet, they're a little bit sticky, right? So they're a little bit sticky, so it kind of helps them stay in place while you're working with them. That's there. If I tried to pick it up, a couple of those little guys would probably stay stuck down and then I would be sad. I needed 2 things of water. But now I want to rub it on. So I'm going to use the very fancy rub-on applicator that comes in the package, aka a popsicle stick. The kind of the key with rub-ons is don't let go. All right. So when I am rubbing on over here, I am holding on over here. And then when I need to rub on over here, I want to make sure I'm still holding on as I'm rotating it. I don't want that rub-on to move. If the rub-on moves, part of it is rubbed on and part of it is not rubbed on. In this case with this guy, it wouldn't be really bad if it moved because those little petals would just move somewhere else and you wouldn't really notice. But if something like this, like that bloom word, if it moved, there'd be a crack in the rub-on, and we don't want a crack in our rub-on. So you just want to keep holding on. I'm always holding on there. I moved my fingers, and now I can come to this part where I need to rub on. And then you think you're good. You don't want to just peel that thing off right away because if there's any part of that rub-on that did not adhere, you want the chance to be able to look, peek, check. If it didn't adhere, you haven't moved it yet, so you can lay it back down and then rub on again. So I'm still holding on over here, right? We don't want to let go. We are peeling, peeling, peeling. Does it look good? Yep, it's good. If it didn't, I would just lay it right back down and nothing had moved, and I'd pick up my popsicle stick and rub the part that didn't rub on, but we're good there. Okay. Now, I thought that's cute, but I thought, well, we need some more color. This is so colorful. I feel like we need a little bit more color here. I am going to take this little flower right here, that little pink flower. And again, I'm going to cut around it. I'm going to cut it away from the sheet and I'm cutting both sheets, right? We can see I'm cutting both sheets. All right. And then we'll have our little guy and this guy. We're going to put right in the center of our rub-on. So you can layer rub-ons on top of each other. Absolutely. In two of my workshops at Little Craft Fest, we actually used rub-ons on top of stamps or with stamps. Which you can totally, rub-ons are so versatile, and I think what makes them so fun. Somebody asked at the booth at Little Craft Fest, why rub-ons instead of stickers? Well, the nice thing with rub-ons, unless you're working with clear stickers and it's a little bit different, but the nice thing with rub-ons is when you're done with them, when they're adhered or when they're rubbed on, it looks like it was printed right on your paper. You don't see any kind of little ghosting, like your little border that you would, even around a clear sticker, you kind of have a little raised edge in the ghosting. But with your rub-ons, they look like they're just printed right on there. So it's just kind of a fun little thing. And that insert is ready to go. So we'll put this guy right here. If you're using Traveler's Notebook insert and you haven't used one before, but because I used it, you just said, I'm going to buy it. You're opening to the center of your insert and sliding it through one of the elastics. Okay, so now we're ready for our second insert. And we do the second insert exactly the same way that we did the first. Do you stamp then rub on or vice versa? Great question. Usually I stamp first and then rub on top. And the reason for that is I use distress oxides. So distress oxides are kind of a chalky ink, a little bit chalkier, and they sit on top of the paper instead of kind of like soak into the paper. Your dye-based inks soak into the paper. But because they kind of sit on top, if I put the rub on first and then put my ink on top, that ink would sit on top of the rub on. And especially if I had like black, it would just make it really cloudy. So when I am comboing rub ons and stamps or inks, I do stamp first or ink first and then rub on top. All right, so here's my second slip cover. Exact same way, folding the outside facing in. And if I'm having any fiber breakage, it will occur on that fold, which is okay because then I fold it again and my outside is now facing out. In this case, I'm going to use my monthly Traveler's Notebook insert as my insert. That one is going to go right in the center again. Close it up, rotate it. Here is the spine. Here is the front cover and the front cover of my insert. And it's very easy to tell here if it's upside down because words, right? Kind of tuck that in, make sure it's nice and tight like that. Get any little air out and then use my finger to create that crease. And that's exactly where that crease needs to go. Again, you don't want to measure and think that it's the right place. If you measure, depending on how thick your Traveler's Notebook insert is getting, and because I've been adding stuff every month, it's getting thicker and thicker. If you measure, then it's going to end up warping like we saw when I tried to change the cover to this for this one. Same thing, I flipped it over. This is now the back cover, the back cover. Flatten it out, use my finger, and go like that. There's the natural crease exactly where it needs to be, and tuck that one under as well. Grab my corner rounder, and I'm rounding those 4 outside corners. So the 2 on the front, flip it over, and the 2 on the back. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh, golly, I talk so much, you guys. I just talk so much. I have fun. So I like to share, right? I think if we're taking a class, we like to learn why we do things the way we do. Open that up. And now I will tell you, when I did this, not on camera, all of this probably took me maybe 40 minutes. So you don't have to think, oh my gosh, why does this take so long? It's because Lael is teaching and sharing. And we had to catch up at the beginning. And, it's just like if we were all together and we were going out to dinner. I mean, it would take a lot longer to go out to dinner because we're socializing and, figuring out what we want to eat and maybe ordering a cocktail or a mocktail or whatever it is. And if we ate at home, we would have been done really quickly. Leah's plan said, how's everybody's insert coming? I wish we could take pictures and show each of our covers. So Leah's plans, guess what? We can. Um, there is a Lail by Mail Facebook group. And in that Facebook group, you can post. Facebook page, only I can post, but Facebook group, you can post. So I would love it if you want to take a picture and post in the Lail by Mail Facebook group. And if you're not part of that, just go to Facebook, if you're on Facebook, and search for Lail by Mail. You'll see a page in a group. Ask to be part of the group. I will see that and say, yes, you can be part of it. And then you can post whatever you'd like. Well, within reason. I think that would be really fun if you guys share that. Okay, so for this guy, I am using this one. So just kind of that nice kind of lavender-ish light blue color. And there's no, I wasn't worried about needing to matte this one like we did this one because it's contrast, right? It's a solid color on that. I love that floral. That floral is just so pretty. Okay, there's our little typewriter card on here. And we are going to do our outlining. Isn't the typewriter cute with those little flowers on the paper? But you'll notice, on purpose, by design, it's blank up there. Now, I forgot to do this here, but what I would like to do is add I could, if I wanted. Oh, maybe we should do something a little bit different. What if we did a rub-on up there? I mean, we have lots of different options for rub-ons. What if we did, it could say Blooming Magic, like a blooming onion, but Blooming Magic. It could say Hello Spring. Oh, I think we should do Hello Spring. Let's do it. I'm going to cut Hello Spring away. And it's like we had a really fancy typewriter that just typed that for us. And again, because it's a rub-on, we won't even see, it will look like it was just printed on that card. You know what? I kind of like it there. No, we'll keep it there. We'll split the difference. All right, remember the rule. Don't let go. Opposite of Elsa from Frozen. Don't let go. Don't let it go. Okay. And actually the black rub-ons are really good to start out with if you really haven't used rub-ons before, because you can see when they have released, because then they turn turns kind of gray. They're super dark that way because it's still on your clear sheet. And then as you rub on and it releases, it looks a little bit more gray because it is released. Now, I'm purposefully not rubbing this on all the way because I want to show you something. This is why we hold on. I do my peek here, lift this up. Oh, it's gonna work for me. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. Even though I hadn't rubbed it all on, as I started to release, it stuck. But what I was trying to show you was if it wasn't, and part of the words was still on this top sheet, I just lay it back down and keep rubbing on. But my rub-ons are really good. I'll tell you guys that. They're really, really good. And those of you who have used them, then you can attest to that. You know they're good. All right, so there's my second insert. And, oh no, it's not done yet. Hang on. We use this cute little yellow butterfly. And that guy, it felt like we just needed a little bit more yellow there because this, it seemed like it was a little bit of a stretch without having yellow. And then we add the yellow and then it just kind of works. So I am going to grab, he's so good. He's just asleep over there in sleep in his own little bucket. Sleep in his own little bucket. Like I have my own bucket. I don't sleep in a bucket. And it's not really a bucket. It's a little bin from IKEA, and he spills out of it. Little cat. Well, he's not a little cat. Don't kid yourself. He's a big cat. Reggie weighs anywhere between 14 and 15 pounds on any given day. But he's not fat. He's big boned. I remember when I was a kid, I just have big bones. Anyhow, no, he's actually a very big cat. He's not fat. It's that's just his size. And so the vet's like, nope, he's exactly the size he should be. You don't have to worry about him being fat. So there we go. There's our second insert. So normally what I would do is then I would, pop this in here. But I want to now take the time and I am going to decorate my calendar for May. This is what I did not have time to do before we got together. So normally what happens is I go, "Oh, you guys, okay, so now here's my calendar." And every month I take what's left over. I don't take a new kit. I don't take a new package of rub-ons. I just use whatever's left over and I decorate my calendar. You've got a blank spread in between to do whatever you want in between. But there's April, super cute. But guess what? There's May. I didn't do it before. So I thought, well, you know what? I am going to do it. We'll do it together. I mean, if you want to watch, you can. If you don't want to watch, then we're basically done setting up our traveler's notebook for the month of May. As I continue to work on this, there were some questions at the beginning of when the next season pass will release. The next season pass is the summer fall season pass for July, August, and September. And that will release the 5th of June. So watch for that, the 5th of June, an email will go out. The other thing we need to talk about is the setup for June, the free class for June. And normally I would have had my calendar. So you can see it's undated. If I already had this set up, I would have had all my dates in there. But I don't have my dates yet. So actually, we can do this really quickly because I know that that's the first. I just come in with my little Sharpie and make my dates. And it's undated so that you can use the insert whenever you want. You can start whenever. If you're just starting, you're like, oh, I want to do this. You start in May, and then you end up with half May and half June. I mean, sorry, not half May and half June. You end up with half 2006 and then half 2007. I mean, oh my gosh. Okay, third time is the charm. Because when I try to do this and then think and talk at the same time, sometimes it doesn't go so well. You would end up with half your calendar for the 2026 calendar year, and half your calendar would be for the 2027 calendar year. See, I could get it. I knew what I was trying to say. You guys probably knew what I was trying to say too. The other thing is that it lets me do themed inserts like this. 30 days, half September, April, June, and November. Okay, 30, 31. Perfect. Um, because this can be now more of an evergreen product. It can last a really long time because it's not specific to a particular year. All right, so now we can look. This is Memorial Day. So that's important because I now know that I will be out of town here as we're looking at when we have I think I want to say it's the 27th. I think the 27th is when I plan to do the setup for June, the free class Traveler's Notebook setup for June, I believe, but I'm not going to write it in because it's on the website. I know I put it on the website under the calendar. I just don't remember if it's one of these 2 days. I mean, it's one of the two, but I don't remember. Anyhow, so now what I do is I take what I did not use and I play. I kind of have a thing going where I kind of over here do the same thing every month. Now, I know I have some May birthdays, but I need to look online. I need to look on my in Outlook to see what May birthdays are. Also know this is a big day. This is our 31st anniversary. We'll be married 31 years, Nick and I, on May 20th. But what I kind of do here, I kind of have a little pattern going for the year. So on your rub-ons, for each month, so each season pass rub-on set will have three these little kind of check boxes. So I've been putting the check boxes right there. This is kind of a fun little thing to do. Hydration break. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you, Louisa. Mm-mm-mm. And it just so happens and I asked Becky,
I'm like, are you kidding me? How would she even know? How would Becky, even though she designed the insert, how would she even know that these guys fit exactly in those lines? Like, look, exactly. Like I know the game. I think the game started, but we're playing. I'm not going to go watch it yet. Oh my gosh, it's a hockey game. It's going to last 3 hours, at least 3 hours. They went into overtime uh, the other night, and so it was 4 hours. We got home at like midnight. It was crazy, but it was so fun. Anyhow, these little guys fit exactly the lines. And one day I said, Becky, you were so smart. How did you even know? And she goes, what? And I said, yeah, these little rub-ons you designed to fit in the lines in the calendar. And she went, no, I didn't. She said, it's dumb luck that those fit there, which was kind of fun. So just kind of your little cute checkbox, right? Sunny days, birds singing, happy moments, easy breezy, hints of summer, right? May hints of summer. Unless you are living in the southern hemisphere, then not so much, right? That's hard. That's hard. You're heading into autumn, not even fall. You're heading into autumn. And you guys know that. I mean, my Australian and New Zealand friends know that, but I don't know if you knew that. They call it autumn instead of fall. So I'm doing the same thing here. I'm holding on. Now, could be a little bumpy depending on what's happened before. So I might want to pull out my pencil board and slide it in between the pages. That'll kind of give me a flat surface. Depends on what if the bumpy is on this page, it's not going to help. But the bumpy's, here and back, it'll help. It'll just kind of give me a flat surface. Just like when we're stamping, pencil board will give me a flat surface to rub on. All right, so let's see how we're doing there. Still been holding on. Let's grab our tweezers and just start to peel back. Um, Reverse grip tweezers make life a lot easier because it's holding on until I let go, as opposing to have to squeeze. So very slowly, I'm peeling away. Are we good? Yep, we're good. And then I just usually do that. Some people will do that and rub over that little plastic thing, but I just rub over it with my finger just to make sure it's nice and set. All right. So what else do we do? Oh, I use that. That separates kind of each of the months visually on the rub-on set. So we've got this really fun, that rainbow. Oh, I love that rainbow stripe. It's so cute. What I think I might do, instead of putting it here, the rub-ons are 6 by 8. So your little strip here is probably 5 3/4. It doesn't go, edge to edge. But I could use this all along the bottom here, right? So I think we should just put that there. And now I'm holding on. Got to be careful over here. Probably what I should have done, I probably should have cut that. Okay. If you're doing something like that, cut it. Don't try to do what I just did. And now I'm going to rub on. That's a lot to hold on to, too. Gotta make your fingers spread. When it's really long this way, too, just be careful. I'm just a little bit at a time. Can you see my hair when I get in there like that? Hope not. Top of my head. It's the last day of tomorrow's a wash the hair day. I don't wash my hair every day. So now if you're looking at the top of my head, you're like, oh, Lil, dry shampoo is my friend. My hair is so much healthier when I don't wash it every day. Okay, so we're rubbing, rubbing, rubbing. Okay, now let's see how we did. Lift this up. I would love to have a whole sheet of stickers like that. Wouldn't that be fun? We need to do that maybe. I love that rainbow. Okay, and then I'll just go over it with my little finger. Looking good. All right, so let's see what else we'd like to do. What do we have left? We've got lots of fun things here. Now, I have all this room here up top, right? Because May doesn't start until Friday. So we have all of these little spaces. So what if we took maybe this guy? Blooms, breezy day, refreshing, birds and bees, and remembrance. Remembrance is kind of Memorial Day, right? I'm gonna take that and I think put it right there. Okay. We have this fun thing. Now, I think what I might do now, usually before, when I do this, I put all the dates down and then I write my appointments and travel and things like that. But I didn't do that this time. So, it is missing. Okay, Michelle, it's okay. Don't panic. Nobody panic. We're going to see. You know what happened? It's because I was trying to talk and count at the same time. Isn't that funny? Okay, so this would be 29, this would be 30. So now this becomes 31, right? So 31 is kind of down here. That upper part is 24, and this bottom part is 31. So we've messed up the 29th and 30th, but guess what we can do? We can put something over it. Like maybe this. This is long enough. So what if we do this? Maybe we'll just do something like that. See? We're not crying. We're not sad. We figured it out. We put something over it. We just hide our little mistake there. I will also tell you, I am not afraid of doing that in pencil first, just to make sure I don't mess up. There we go. There's always a way to fix it. Sometimes what I'll do, um, I'll have if I can find in my stash like little tiny stickers, then I could put like a little star over those dates or heart over those dates or something. So, and it's okay. We know between the 28th and the 31st is the 29th and 30th. So really, I did that on purpose to see if if anyone was paying attention, and then also so I could show you a way to fix it. And really, not really. How many days between washings? I also can't wash daily. Hi, Serenity. It really depends on what I have going on. Like at Little Craft Fest, I pretty much watch every other day just because I'm there and I'm in front of a lot of people. And it's also getting closer to when I need to go have my hair roots dyed again. And so, but usually, probably maybe every 2 days, maybe every 3 days. It just depends. But like I said, dry shampoo is my friend. What about you? If you don't wash your hair every day, what's your go-to? What do you find? Does it change? All right, this guy. This is a really big die cut, right? And so if I put it on something like this, it's going to cover up a lot of days. I could, but I think what I'd like to do when I have a really big die cut like this, sometimes I like to put it in the center of the spread. So when I do that, I'm just going to cut this little guy in half. I could use my trimmer if I wanted, but I'm just going to cut that in half. And part will go on one side and part will go on the other. But instead of using my tape runner, I am going to use my little glue pen just because I really want this to stick. I don't want it to like lift in the center. Anyone watching hockey playoffs? I've really never been into hockey until Utah. First, we got our first and an NHL hockey team 2 years ago. Well, last year. So this is our second year. And so now we're very much having fun with it. Lots of fun. And it's interesting because Sam, our younger son, played lacrosse all growing up and in high school. And so there's parts of it that really remind me a lot of lacrosse. Like going behind the net. Like in soccer, you don't go behind the net, the goal. But in lacrosse, you do, and in hockey, you do. There's offsides in hockey, just like there is lacrosse. So I feel like I know a good amount about it. Ink paper with Kelly said I wash about every third day. Sarah said every 3 days. The Kwai dry shampoo is so good. Ooh, I'll have to try that. Serenity said 3 days for me. Oh, that would be a great washi, wouldn't it? Oh, that would be a good washi. Yeah. Let's see. Wash with shampoo and conditioner one day, hair mask the next day, nothing for 2 days, and then wash again. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's no Aunt Recreates. Yes, that would be a great washi. Oh, you said, oh my gosh, that's funny. I just realized you're talking about washing hair, and I said that would be a great washi. I think that would be a great washi too. I totally know what you meant. All other sports are boring compared to hockey. That's funny, Jen. All right. So, and then I just kind of keep going. I'm like, okay, what else do I have? Well, we've got a bee. I think we certainly need to have a bee in here. So, what if we did this? What if we put our little bee right there? Just start playing with whatever I have left over. There's no right or wrong, right? And it's just a calendar. So if I don't really like the way it turned out, I just had fun working with it. And then it kind of becomes a little, when you're done for the year, it just becomes like, well, it's kind of like your little planner, right? It kind of becomes a little time capsule that recorded everything that you did. Now, this seems like it would go really well right here. So let's just put that there, I think. Let's do it. And if you aren't doing a monthly calendar, well, look at how much you have left to play with. I mean, a lot. We have all those rub-ons, we have all these die cuts, we have a ton of word strip stickers, and I've not even started stamping yet. That is where I find um, that the stamps really come into play. So when we look at, for example, let's look at April. So in April, I used the little flower stamp all over to add some color. I use a little Easter egg stamped all over and in different colors to add some color. Little butterfly stamp in number of different places to add some color. So this is where for me the stamps really come into play as I'm playing with the calendar, and even a little April there. So we want to make sure to remember the stamps as I'm playing. I don't want to forget that. But look at how much color, and that was just all the leftover stuff. All the leftover stuff I had after I did my setup. All right, so I think we should start. And what's nice here, we can use the butterfly again. We can use the bees again and the flowers, right? We can use all of those little things again. And that little butterfly probably looks familiar because it's the same butterfly that we have right there, but in a stamp form. And this is where I have all these colors now. This is why I pulled out a whole bunch of different colors. And those were the colors that we had kind of matched for the spring summer season pass. Look, cracked pistachio I could use. I could use spiced marmalade. Maybe we're going to pull those out too. Let's see. Cracked pistachio is here. And then spiced marmalade. Yes. Those of you that took one of the workshops at Little Craft Fest, I think that was the Glimmers one. Those were the colors that I used for that one. That's why those are out separate. All right, so we're just gonna, I think, let's just start with, I think cracked pistachio will use, let's start with the flowers. And this is where, because I don't know where my stamping blocks are, let's start pink. We're just going to stamp there, and then maybe we'll do another one here. And I rotated so it looked a little bit different. And then let's put another one maybe right there. So it's kind of crossing, made a little visual triangle. So I did 3. And then let's do, oh, more hydration. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Ink and paper with Kelly. You're like my friend Karen. She said, I don't use dry shampoo at all, but I have curly hair, so I will still wet it to refresh curls. Yes. And now let me ask you, do you use regular shampoo at all, ink and paper with Kelly? Do you use shampoo at all? My friend Karen does not. She uses conditioner to clean her hair. And that is like a curly girl, something that she kind of learned a long time ago. Yeah, if you have curly hair, you do things, I think you can, right? Some people do things very differently with curly hair than they would with straight hair. Oopsie, I wasn't paying attention. I only ended up stamping part of the butterfly wing. Oh, I know why that happened, because guess what? I couldn't find my stamping blocks. I am using a stamping block that's too small. And that's why you don't want to use stamping blocks that are too small. See? I didn't press on it enough over there. I wasn't paying attention. Now I'll try to pay attention better, but I wasn't paying attention before. But our ink, you guys, not our ink. When we use stamps and bring in colored ink, I mean, we wouldn't have to have any die cuts left, right? If we didn't have any die cuts left, we could, let's see, we'll put this guy right here. We could totally decorate our calendar with just stamps and colored ink. Lori Lance, she has very curly hair and she does use shampoo. Carrie uses purple shampoo. Look at all the things we're talking about. Oh, you use a bar shampoo with argan oil. Ooh, right? So many different things. So many different things. And some of us are like, I wash my hair every day and I use shampoo. And I don't know. Always think it's very interesting that when men, like for example, when men use like bar of soap, they're in the shower, they use bar of soap on their body, they use a bar of soap on their hair, and you know what? It works, right? Your bar lasts a year for $12. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That's a deal. All right. So I need my yellow again. So I'm just gonna pull out my yellow. Oh, where did it go? It's hiding. It is hiding. All right. And now we don't really see the bees very well. So I have an idea. I'm going to try something. What if we did? I don't know if this is going to work or not. And usually this is where I should probably try it first. So let's try it and see what happens. My thought is, what if I stamp black bee? Oh, look how cute that is. Those bees, that's like the detail on those little bees. So nice. So let me clean this off. Carrie, you're going gray at 62. No more coloring. You're going gray. Good for you. All right, now we're going to add the yellow. So I wonder what this will look like if I just rotate this now and add little yellow guys. That's kind of fun, right? Because when you have a stamp, you can't really make it two colors. So if I want to kind of get it to look like a bee with yellow and black, I'm going to do that. So let's come in and I am going to do the dark one first. I think if I do dark first and then come back with the light, it will be a little bit easier. Oh, God, be careful. Oh, look what happened. That die cut slid under there. We got lucky. That didn't make a mess. All right, so now let's do some bees. Let's do bees right there. And maybe we should do some bees out there. And then see how I'm doing like triangles with each of them, just so they kind of look okay together. Do this one right there. Oopsie, I pressed really hard on that one. Our bees are kind of chunky. Those bees are a little chunkier than, this is what I mean. If you're like, what are you talking about? Let's see if you can tell. Do you see on this side, they're kind of blurred as opposed to that little guy or as opposed to those guys? That's why kind of test stamping first can be really helpful. If you don't know how much pressure that you need to apply, I would much rather test stamp first and figure out what happens when I press too hard on the bees than, kind of do it in my project and learn. Oh, if you press too hard, they get really blurry. So I'm going to just rotate a little bit. They look like a swarm, but that's a swarm of good bees, not like killer bees. All right. So if I wanted to get a little bit more color, I mean, I think I'm probably pretty good with color. I didn't really bring any of the blues in, but I could if I wanted to keep stamping some things. Also, we have other things, snippets of life. This was perfect. We have our little butterfly one there. Um, oh, I know what I could do here. Time for an adventure because we're going to go out in our little Harvey the RV that weekend. This is where I'm sad that I don't know what I did with my other stamping blocks because this is really way too big. I mean, it'll work. It just is a little bit more challenging because it's so much bigger. It'll still be okay, but time for adventure. We'll go right here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to grab a pencil board. Sorry, every time I do that, until kind of everything, the camera's not fixed yet. It's in a stand that is not affixed to like the fixture that the lights are. Every time I open up my little drawers, the whole table shakes, but we'll get there. Time for adventure. That's a great way to bring a little bit of green in. And what if, let's see. Oh, this mattered. That's perfect for the anniversary. That does matter. And then we have a little bit more green. Now, if I would thought about that, I wouldn't have done that green there too, because now I've got green and green together, but it's okay. All right. Rub that little guy on. Sometimes decorating the calendar takes me as long to do as it does when I just do the whole insert. But it's play, right? We just have fun and play. All right. So I think for now, I think what I need to do, I need to I need to get my calendar and fill the rest of these things in because, like this, we have, um, this is International Scrapbook Day. And then we have a live from, now don't get confused because this is mountain time and I always say things in Pacific time. So for me, mountain time, it is 9 to noon. And here we have a bunch of things. We have INSD, and that is live. And that is from, again, mountain time, 5 to 9. So 4 to 5 to 9, 5 to 10. I don't remember. I think it's 5 to 10. Anyhow, it's in the email that's going out tomorrow. We also have May release goes live at 10. Again, don't be confused. That's my time. And then I have the unboxing at 1. Anyhow, lots of things. So once I sit down with my calendar and start filling in some of the things, then I can come back and do a little bit more decorating if I need, if I feel like I need to do some more. All right, my friends. Okay. Serenity said decorating the calendar is my favorite. It just makes me happy. I know, right? Okay, so I'm going to do this. I am going to rotate the camera now because I'm pretty much as far along in my calendar as I can be until I write everything in. So let's do this. I'm unplugging and I'm rotating. We, all right. So there we go, friends. We are a little crooked. I can't wait till I'm not rotating anymore. So then I'm not crooked. We're all set. We are set for the month of May in our traveler's notebook. Um, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm now going to go eat dinner and have some more water and watch the hockey game because very exciting playoffs. So if you are into hockey, then enjoy the hockey season. And if not, just go do whatever you like to do. Again, stay tuned for an email that's coming out tomorrow. Also, blog posts will go live tomorrow in the morning with the whole schedule for the weekend. So Friday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time, my far and wide collection, my brand new travel collection goes live. It's good. It's pretty good. There'll also be some other fun things that go live and a little bit of a sale on some older things. And then at noon Pacific time on Monday, I will do the live unboxing showing all the new products. And then at 4 p.m. on Friday, Pacific time, we will start our creative listing. And again, remember that's an open house. So I'll be there from 4 to 9. I'll be there from 4 to 9. So it's really 5 to 10. I'll be there from 4 to 9. We're listing 5 hours on Friday night. But you can come and go. You can watch the replay at any time. And then we will reconvene again on Saturday the 2nd at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And we will do 4 more hours of listing. Okay. So it's actually 9 to 1. Yeah, don't pay attention to what I wrote in my calendar because apparently I started at Mountain and ended at Pacific. Yeah. Watch for the email and the blog post and it'll give you all the details. All right, my friends. Yes, Tara, can you still sign up for your email? Absolutely. Go to Lil. Hold please. Mm. Go to lailbymail.com and you'll be on my website for like 10 seconds and a little pop-up window will pop up. And then it will say, hey, if you want to get our emails, put your email address in. But yeah, absolutely, you can still get them. Okay, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything else, you guys. I know how fast a month goes by. It's crazy, isn't it? Leah's plan said, so fun. Thank you for tonight. Yes, that was a lot of fun, you guys. Thank you. And loves Mike Griffin Moore said, excited to see your travel release. I will tell you, we took a little bit of it with us to Little Craft Fest, and it flew. So I hope you guys are excited as I am. This time we did 6x8 paper pad in addition to 12x12 paper pack and 6x12 stickers. So we're branching out into some really fun new products. At least for us. At least for us. Yes, Maureen. Hi, Maureen. Yes. New backdrop. It is not printed. It's like physical. Yeah. So Nick and I did that weekend before last. All right, my friends. Thank you for joining me tonight. Whether you watched live or whether you watched the replay, thanks for tuning in. And if you had never watched me before, welcome. And if you have been around for a while, but you never really understood what season pass was, or maybe you've never really used a traveler's note before, maybe you're like, I'm not sure how to use rub ons or why would I want stamps? Hopefully, there's something tonight that we covered that made you just go, aha, maybe you got one or two little nuggets of wisdom and learned something new, or maybe remembered something you had forgotten. All right, have a you know what I mean. Have a good rest of the evening, and I will see you hopefully on Friday or Saturday or sometime in the interwebs in the future. All right. Thanks for joining me tonight. Bye. Bye. And now I got to do the manual thing and walk around the back of the camera because until we get all the cameras in, it's all manual. But that's how you know I'm human, right? Actually, this is kind of interesting. This is the first time that I filmed with this setup. And we did a pretty good job. I mean, you can see pretty much everything right to left. I mean, there's a little bit. Yeah. I mean, look, you can see it all. I'm just going to move this way. Look, when I move that way, does that help? Oh, that's funny. I moved that way and I'm looking at the screen and I don't see anything changing. It's because I'm about 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds behind. So I'm going to see. First time live hatter. Hello, Jill. First time live something. Oh, yeah, we went too far. I'm actually just going to sit here and do this for a minute because then it will be positioned exactly where I need it to be on Friday. So don't mind me as I'm just figuring out what we're doing. Now I gotta wait for it to, I still have to wait for it to move again. Are we good? I think we're good. I think that's good. I'm gonna come back a little bit this way. All right, friends. Good night. Have a good night. Bye. Oh, yeah. Wrong side. Gotta go to this side. Other side of the phone has a little X. Okay. Bye again. Oh my gosh. Come on, Lil. I can't see what I'm doing. What the heck? These are like the outtakes at the end of the movie. There we go. And guess who? You might just see a tail there from